Classic. Haven't played it yet. Hello, Sharky. Hello, Johnny.
Hey, Cass.
Hello.
Welcome, one and all. Welcome to the Bad Game Hall of Fame. Welcome to Compromised Classics Compilations. This is the show in which we play Compromised Classics Compilations. So, happy birthday, Game Room. Today, first of all, 16 years of a stellar, uninterrupted service. And wait, what's that? Okay,
and
never mind.
Many more.
Yeah. So we, among us three, and among many a Giant Bomb fan, have an affection for Microsoft's Game Room, an effort they launched in 2010 to host classic arcade games as well as some classic console games to upsell them, to market them to people over their marketplace. And you get these like cool little bespoke cabinets, you get some fun facts about the game, high score chasing, but
your avatars can walk around and wander
and build your own virtual digital arcade. It was a fun idea. The execution left a little to be desired, and they ended up shutting it down prematurely in around they discontinued it immediately, pretty much like before 2010 was up, if I'm to recall correctly, and shut down the servers in 2017. And you can no longer access the Game Room unless you're crafty, unless you maybe check out archive.org. Might take a click over there and find something. One of the problems is that at a certain point, in addition to the arcade games that were kind of like part of the whole theming and aesthetic that would have made sense to focus on arcade games, they started putting up a bunch of Atari VCS and Intellivision games and charging way too much for them, which put some people off. By the end of it, they were putting up, straight up, they put up Venetian blinds. You know, the Atari VCS cartridge that never actually came out, that was just an inside joke between people at Atari, at Activision, I should say. And funny, just brief tangent on that, is that the story that surrounds that game was wrong. That went around on the internet for the longest time because it was disseminated by a site called AtariProtos.com, where the original Venetian Blinds demo was hosted and where people first heard of it. And they had like this wrong story, and then Game Room copied and pasted, just stole that copy from their website in the description for Venetian Blinds. So you had a product description on Game Room and this officially licensed copy of Venetian Blinds that just had the wrong history behind it. And I know all this because I wrote the world's definitive article on Venetian Blinds, got to the real origin story behind it, to the point where Atari Protos had to like issue like a whoopsies on the page for Venetian Blinds. So now it links back to us and says, "Thank you, Cassidy from the Bad Game Hall of Fame." If only I had known, then maybe I could have spared Game Room. Maybe I could have saved Game Room if they just had the right product description for Venetian Blinds up. We could have avoided all this, and for that, I am deeply sorry. So anyway, we're not playing Game Room tonight. Maybe we will in time. Maybe we'll find some sort of way to show that off on the show. What we're playing tonight are compilation cartridges and maybe a couple diskettes, wherein developers, publishers put out classic arcade games, specifically is what we're focusing in on here tonight. We really narrowed the focus in to a very specific thing here, which is cartridge compilations of classic arcade games for consoles that could not handle emulation, to where the games had to be rebuilt from the ground up. And sometimes they weren't great. Sometimes those conversions left a little something to be desired. One might say they were compromised, perhaps. And so that's what we're going to hone in on today. And we're also, while we're at it, just going to give like a brief, quote-unquote, brief history of how compilation games, how packages of games bundled together came to be, the origins of that as a way to market and sell games. And there might be some interesting stuff there for folk at home. But before we get to any of that, let me ask both of you up front, how well-versed are you in classic arcade games? I have an actual question for you this time at the top and not just a joke question.
Oh, I've played a lot. Back in the day, before the Game Room, before Microsoft Classics, which they released like last year, and was their excuse to re-release Venetian Blinds, but now with a competitive mode. I really just had to get that out there, that Microsoft did it again and added competition to Venetian Blinds. Anyway, no, before all that, I mean, I grew up with arcades. Most of what I played in there was like contemporaries, like Time Crisis and Soul Calibur and all that. But in college, Game Tap was a thing.
Yes, it was.
And Game Tap was like one of the earliest versions of these games as a service, not games as a service, these game subscription things where you could just pay it for a month and you have all these access to some PC games, but a lot of classic arcade games. So I spent a lot of college playing a lot of classic arcade games, and I'm very fond of a lot of them. I think a lot of them hold up. A lot of them are cheap as hell. A lot of them are just trying to get money out of you. But when you don't have to pay per play, yeah, I enjoy a good classic arcade game.
Very good. Johnny?
Unfortunately, I didn't have much arcade experience growing up. They're very rare around my area. So most of the time, if I would get exposed to that stuff, it was either compilation stuff, we're talking like PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, or when, it's diving into like MAME in like the mid to late 2000s and rediscovering stuff there. So yeah, a lot I know more by reputation, or I've like done the work and gone back afterwards. But yeah, so a lot of these kind of bespoke versions for handhelds and whatnot is gonna be new to me today.
Very good. For my part, I feel like I have a pretty good grasp on the classics of arcade era, of classics of gaming in general. I've done a lot of research on the subject, to say the least. A lot of it firsthand, by which I mean playing the games. I grew up with PC was my primary platform. I would always have I would try to afford the contemporary consoles, and usually I could find a way. But they were always second to my first love, which was the PC. And the PC got a lot of classic game compilations, the likes of the Williams Arcade Classics and some other stuff we'll feature here tonight. So I was getting exposed to them that way, and also like the forums I was going on to, trying to find more info about games and such. Especially when I was very much still into Doom for a long time. I was trolling around, lurking around mostly the early Doom community, and those people had a pretty good appreciation for classic games. A lot of them being old heads already in the mid to early 90s internet, and just kept getting older. How'd that happen? I grew up with a lot of PC versions of and going to arcades. Mostly the arcades I had around me, you just stocked contemporary games and you wouldn't find too many of the older ones. But now the script has sort of flipped, and now the arcades I gravitate towards too, focus in on the classics with maybe a sprinkling of modern arcade games here and there to fill out the place. But
I think actually some of my earliest experiences with arcade games, not console ports on NES and stuff, was back in those the PC days, when Shockwave was still a thing. There were Midway collections officially on Shockwave, so I could play shit like Satan's Hollow and Root Beer Tapper on there.
And funny you mention that, because Shockwave gives way to Macromedia and then Adobe Flash. And back in the day when I was doing stuff in Flash and I was making animations, I was also making games. And some of the earliest games that you learn to make as an aspiring game dev is you remake classic arcade games. So I learned how to make a version of Asteroids. I learned how to make a version of Space Invaders, a version of Pac-Man, etc., etc., etc. Just purely imitative, purely just making the game, right? Not adding sort of any flair, but changing around values and seeing how all that stuff ticks. And that's another value that I see in classic arcade games. Is the reason why I do feel if you want to get into the games industry, I'm not the kind of the old dad who makes their kid play start your video game journey from the Atari like I did back in the day. I think that stuff is stupid and infantile. I don't think you should torture kids that way, personally. But if you're going to get into game dev, I think it is important to understand what makes the classic games tick, to have some understanding and appreciation of. Is it necessary? Probably not. But I do feel there is an education to be had in playing these old games. And, whatever format that takes. It's easier than ever now to get hands on these old games. But back in the day, people maybe had a tougher time. Maybe their selection was a little more limited to some of the cartridges and CDs we will feature tonight. But before we even get to that, we have a segment at the top of the show, a classic segment, truly. Really, the whole thing hinges on it. It's like, you know how all the nuclear missile silos still run off of floppy disks? Because they have those like classic computers still running them. It'd be more expensive to update to modern computers. And, you know, so the entire country is kind of built on the back of like old reel-to-reel machines. This entire show is built in the similar way. It would all fall apart, go to hell, mutually assured destruction, if not for Truckee Stream Snack.
All right, tonight's stream snack is Farm Rich fried cheese curds, and our drink is, get over here, C4 Smart Energy Sparkling Tropical Passion Fruit. This is the third of the flavors, of the 4 flavors that I have. So let's give that an open right there, and a quick taste. Oh, whoa. That is a very sharp, acidic flavor.
Cuts right through.
Yeah. Just immediately punches you in the face. That's the Hawaiian punch right there. Okay, I'm looking at the front of this. I'm looking at the fruits that are advertised. It looks like pineapple, maybe acai, and mango? But this is all pineapple. This is so like strongly pineapple acid flavor. This is very intense. I'll be honest.
That does sound good.
I'm trying to pick up any other notes in here. Yeah, maybe if I like let it really linger on the tongue, I get some of that berry, maybe a little bit of that mango, but that initial hit of the pineapple is so strong that it kind of knocks out a lot of your ability to taste the other flavors, I think. Cass, what are you having?
So I have an announcement.
Mm-hmm.
Typically, my monster of choice has historically been, since we started doing the Stream Snack segment, and I chime in with, I'm drinking my Monster Energy Ultraviolet. That has been the long-running trend here. I'm making the change. Officially, I am changing over to Monster Juice, Energy Juice, Voodoo Grape. It has won me over. It is just a better grape flavor that comes from this drink. So as long as it is available, as long as I can continue to procure it, this will be the drink going forward, the official Cassidy drink.
I don't know if it's a limited time thing, but it sure seemed like it would have been a limited time thing.
Well, then I better stock up while I still can.
I did that with like 2 or 3 years ago at this point, when Dr. Pepper had the creamy coconut flavor for like summer. It was so good, and they have never brought it back. But like at the time, I realized something like this was going to happen, so I stocked up, and I had enough Dr. Pepper creamy coconut to last me until like, it was a summer flavor, and I had enough to last me into February of the next year. And they still weren't expired by then. I bought enough so that I could drink before they expired.
All I can think of,
soda tastes like dirt.
All I can think of when you say a story is Kevin from Mega 64 putting the Little Caesars pretzel crust with the cheese sauce, putting a whole pie of those into like airtight bags and freezing them because he knew they were going to get discontinued, and them calling up Little Caesars being like, look, if you don't re-release the pretzel crust, Kevin's going to have to eat this old pizza. And there's like, well, we can't do anything about that. And just the stalemate that they reach there. A legendary prank phone call. And luckily, the pretzel crust came back. The national crisis is over. But we're running out of time in this segment. So, Johnny.
Yeah.
Yep. I decided to go for a compilation, a 2-in-1, 2 drinks in one stream snack. I have my iced vanilla latte. And the last of my candy bar based hot chocolates. This is based on Bounty, the coconut bar. I'm gonna have a quick sip.
Remember when Aqua had that song about Bounty Land?
Nope.
Oh.
Yeah,
I know
the
two
Barbie
Aqua
Girl
songs.
band had a song that was all this like European candy brands, and so
Oh no, that's I guess the third song they made then.
Mhm.
Yep, and then I also have some brown M&Ms, and there's a lady.
Just Brown?
She's giving me some sort of look on the packet here. I'm not sure what's up with that, so I'm gonna put that down for now.
she wants you to
I'm
go
sorry,
to
wait.
GameStop. She wants you to purchase a particular product.
Do you mean every M&M? First of all, that's the green M&M. Secondly,
No,
do
no.
you mean every M&M
Oh.
in the
Yeah.
bag is a brown M&M?
Yeah,
Huh. Okay.
and there's a lady with glasses on the front, and she's doing kind of like the Rock eyebrow face.
Yeah, that's the brown M&M that I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you
I'm
sure?
Turn that away from me.
I
That's
thought-
I don't like.
I thought it was the
strange
green
look.
M&M who wanted you to go to GameStop.
I believe
Anyway,
it is historically the green M&M who asked you to go to GameStop to pick up Bambi for the PS2 or whatever the fuck.
All right. Well, I think then that will do it for Chucky's Stream Snack and M&M lore discussion.
Very good. Man, we went long on the intro today. I think that's okay though. I think it was a fun intro. I'm still steaming because I'm gonna
Oh, you want to
complain about this on the
make the
show.
intro? You want to make the intro even longer by talking about this?
Okay, maybe not. We'll just let that one sit for a minute. Tune in to Casual Mondays. Maybe I'll talk about it there. In the meantime, we're going to cut to that main stage. Whoop, we're here too. And I mentioned that I have a bit of a slideshow, a bit of a history of the very concept of compilation cartridges at all. I keep saying cartridges because I like the alliteration of it. But, you know, they can come out on floppy disks. They can come out on any number of things. They can come out for any other number of platforms. They could even come out for mainframe computers in the 70s. This is one of the first compilation releases I could find, which goes to prove that game compilations are a concept as old as gaming is, as computing is. This is 1973's 101 Basic Computer Games, a collection developed by the Digital Equipment Corporation, back when developer names were sexy. And as mentioned, this is for mainframe computers, and there's a little snippet here, little advertising blurb I found, where it even admits that it is not the first collection of computer games in simulations, nor will it by any means be the last. They got that right. So this would have had, 101 computer games on it. If you go to the Moby Games page for this, you can see, just how many games are on this thing. It's 101, but they name every game on it, which is handy. It's, mostly, classic stuff, like Checkers, a version of, Artillery Firing Range, like that format of game, Scorched Earth et al., Hangman. So this isn't quite arcade games, because, we didn't really have arcade games really established by this point in 1973, but just an interesting starting point, just the historical note for this history section. So you get into the first generation of consoles, the Pong consoles era, and a lot of the Pong consoles that would come out would be technically multiple games within. They'd be variations on the gameplay. They'd all be Pong, but they'd have a mode, a switch you could flip, and there'd be two paddles on your side of the screen or whatnot, and they'd call it hockey or tennis, or they'd change it as they could to try and make them seem like different games to boast that value proposition, as it were. So in turn, when you get to the second generation of consoles, we're talking dedicated consoles with cartridges and such, the likes of, let's say, the Fairchild Channel F, where for releases, they would just bundle every release for the Fairchild Channel F. Pretty much every one of them is a multi-cart that includes anywhere between 2 and 4 games on it. Because again, they just come from the Pong console era. Maybe they wanted to have some continuity with that. Maybe they just wanted to say you're getting such a great value when you get games on the Fairchild Channel F. And similarly, Atari, when they were putting out cartridges for the VCS 2600, they would boast a single cartridge as having 100 games on it. And of course, it would just be you would press the game adjust switches, those dials on the physical dials on your console, or a game select button. And you could cycle through. It would be the same game, of course, but you'd have different modifiers on difficulty or the behaviors of enemies that they would program in, and they would count those as games. And you can make obviously an argument that that's just options. Those are just what we consider options now. But back in the day, any sort of option you could turn on or off was considered a bespoke game in terms of marketing. I would love to see what consumers thought of that. I would love to read like a contemporary take of players just being like, this doesn't feel like 100 games in one. It feels like I'm playing the same game over and over again. If that ever worked as like a marketing tactic, if anyone ever fell for it, hook, line, and sinker, I suppose. But anyway, this is just to say that the idea of bundling games together was like a pretty obvious one. It was obvious to the original manufacturers, the original publishers of video games across the first and second generations. They had it figured out that obviously people are going to feel like they're getting a better deal when you pack multiple games into one. So we'll move along into the microcomputer era, where the idea of the bundle begins to change. So what you get with the advent of microcomputers, particularly in Europe, but stuff like the Commodore 64 did make its way over to North America. We had the Atari 800 and that line of personal home computers that didn't take off in the same way in Europe. But we're really going to hone in on the British microcomputers here because it's a territory that doesn't get talked about enough in North American game spaces, and I always like the opportunity to. So. The economy in Europe not doing so great, as I'm understanding. The economy in London, England, et al. Is doing pretty bad in the 80s, the early to mid to late 80s. It's almost like, a lot of bands were writing a lot of songs about that or something. So the British consumer is looking for a good deal. And what you get is, with these microcomputers that took cassette tapes primarily, would be your mode for loading in your game. What you'd also get were, in addition to these games that came on a cassette, you'd also get multi-carts, multi-cassettes. You'd have these labels that swooped in, these companies that started explicitly with the idea of being value game publishers. And their tactic would be to bundle as many games as they could onto a single cassette. So they'd record on both sides of it. You put the cassette in your system, and depending on which side, you'd have a different selection of games. Eventually, these value labels start to try and one-up each other to fit as many games as they could onto these cassettes. It was a real arms race at a moment in time. And one of the most infamous compilations to emerge from this period is 1983's Cassette 50, which is a cross-platform effort by one Cascade Games to accrue titles submitted to them by bedroom coders who were paid just like £10. They would see advertisements in the newspaper advertising for, hey, send us your game, get paid. And, they wouldn't tell you that you're getting paid like a bare minimum, and also on condition that you gave up all rights to your program that you were submitting. And then what would happen is, like, a publisher like Cascade would accumulate those games, and in Cascade's case, they accumulated them across multiple different computer formats. So this would come out across like the Amstrad, the ZX Spectrum, Commodore 64, the BBC Micro, everything in between. You get 50 games, most of them not good, because again, they were made by like teenagers. They were made by bedroom coders, first-time coders. And so Cassette 50 goes on to become particularly infamous for the lackluster quality almost across the board of the games that are
number
submitted.
35, Kyle Stinks.
And, a lot of these games at this time should also be mentioned are starting to base themselves off of arcade games, because as I mentioned during the intro, what's the first thing that like every aspiring game developer does? They clone a classic arcade game. And so you get a lot of like versions of Space Invaders et al. Showing up on Cassette 50, showing up on all these multi-carts and multi-cassette images and so forth. And it's just an
Kyle
interesting
Stinks was
rabbit hole.
actually a ripoff of Hubert, but with Kyle from Fifth Period.
Still, and also the swearing uncensored in Kyle Stinks. You think you would call Kyle Sucks or put some other swear word in the title, but you got to keep it clean for marketing. Anyway, Cassette 50 is interesting. A similar experiment was conducted by Firebird Software, who were one of the major value labels of the day. They put out a cassette in 1985 called Don't Buy This, 5 of the Worst Games Ever, which, cruelly enough, was just they got submissions. They said, these submissions suck. Let's hold on to these until we can release a cassette that just deprecates them and shits on the people who submitted them. And so they put that out, and we wrote an article about that one. For the website back in the day, badgamehallofame.com/don't-buy-this for briefs on the 5 games included there. Fido 2, a secret banger. But yeah, we'll move along in the slideshow. To the mid-'80s, moving into the later 80s, we see a newer trend beginning to emerge on the microcomputers, where rather than waiting for these submissions to come in from bedroom coders, you have these developers putting out their titles, individually. They get a license for an arcade game. They commission a team internally to develop that so they can put it out on the market. And then what they would do is they would wait for some amount of time to pass, wait for those initial sales to go through, and then they would re-release those games as budget releases, and oftentimes bundle them all onto a singular cassette image and sell it as a value compilation. Occasionally, they would also sneak new games onto them to further boast the value proposition for someone who already owned, like, we're looking at this image on the left here, Konami coin-op hits put out by Imagine Games. You see versions of Green Beret, versions of Yi Air Kung Fu, and these have come out individually, and maybe you own them individually already, but you didn't own Ping Pong over there. You didn't own Hyper Sports, so you're going to buy the cassette regardless to get those versions of those arcade games or what have you. It's not a bad idea. I mean, obviously, it's a pretty good idea, and it targeted thrifty consumers by setting the prices real low. Like, most of these would go for like £3.99 top. Most of them would go for like $1.99, and so people were like flush with cassette images at a moment in time. I mentioned this 4 Konami coin-op hits on the left. On the right, we have one of the many US Gold collections, because US Gold was getting all the hot licenses, and they were tasking it to the worst developers imaginable because they were a fly-by-night rookery over there at US Gold. So you get probably pretty awful versions of the likes of Tapper, Spy Hunter, Beachhead, a particularly rancid version of Street Fighter that leads way to a little game by the name of Human Killing Machine. And, they would target multiple computers at once. So even between consoles, even though it would be the same list of games, you would get like wildly different versions of said game because each version had to be built from the ground up for the microcomputer it was targeting. Some code could like be recycled, systems that utilize BASIC. If you were programming your game in BASIC, which I believe you shouldn't have been doing back in the day. Anyway, there's just a lot of like nuance to this sector of the industry. And this is really where I think the idea of the bundle of bundling a bunch of classic arcade games is like the first signs of that, where that is specifically what they're going for. You see it in the marketing of Konami's coin-op hits on the left-hand side here. You can see them like driving that connection to the arcade manufacturer in. Even though Konami they weren't the ones developing these conversions, mind you, far fucking from it, which is why the quality on these varies wildly, to say the least. Eventually, we'll show off more microcomputer games on this show. Eventually, we will descend down that darkened hole into the unknown, into budget arcade conversions with microcomputers. But today is not that day, thank God. Instead, we'll move along to some of the first compilations to market themselves specifically to that arcade classics. That is like the line that is recycled. It's not a trademarked line. Someone should probably get on that just to deny other people from using it. That's what I would do if I was a scumbag businessman, if I was a patent troll. But yeah, arcade classics becomes a sort of branding, a shorthand for this is going to be the arcade games that are hot right now. You see on the left here, Arcade Classics is a Firebird release. It's got versions of Space Invaders, Snake, Asteroid, and Space Wars. Wonder how that's different from... is it going to be a computer space? Probably, which would be interesting. I'd love to see that. I'm curious about that. Remind me after the show. Look up what computer space looks like on a Commodore 64. Anyhow, the major publishers were taking notes. The major label publishers were taking note of what the value budget labels were doing in the microcomputer space. And so they felt it fell upon them to start putting out their own compilations. Activision, an early adopter of this tactic, they put out an Action Classics line where they bundle home computer versions of their games. Like, let's say, like Pitfall and the Demon Attack. 2 games that would have released separately, now they are released as a 2-in-1 on a singular tape or diskette, depending on your system. But these don't really catch on because they're being too precious about it. They're only putting 2 games together when you can see the competitors here. They're doing 3-in-1, 4-in-1, 10-in-1, 50-in-1 even. And, it also helps that the budget labels were willing to completely just, like, undercut the major labels, that they were willing to position themselves as being thrifty. They had no qualm with that, where like an Activision would still be trying to save some amount of face, where like Atari or whoever else have you would still be trying to position these as being like, like, no, these maintain their value. These games are still as good as they were back then as they are now. And fucking Firebird doesn't give a shit about doing that. They'll appeal to the lowest common denominator, and that served them well, evidently, because you see more of these come out, and the major labels kind of take a step back from it. At a certain point, they seem to sort of like walk away from that effort. They wait for a later moment in time to come.
Something
Yeah, go ahead.
strikes me about this,
Mhm.
which is that this is where they start using classics, right? As in their marketing and all that kind of stuff. So this, if what I found is correct, this, what we're looking at right here, came out in 1987.
Yes, both of these. Two different releases
Yes.
here. I should mention, the one on the left is a Firebird release, one on the right is a Datasoft compilation, 2 different packs of games. But these are the first 2 that I could find, both coming out in 87, to call themselves Arcade Classics as the headline on it.
Right. And I see like Dig Dug on there, and Dig Dug came out in 1982. That seems not far enough removed to call something a classic.
I'd just be glad I didn't call them retro classics. Then we'd be here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, it relatively, it's like if right now you said, oh, Resident Evil Village, that's a classic video game. That's a classics of video game, Resident Evil Village.
No, that's true, but also, I imagine the speed of how much games changed made that time difference seem bigger as well. I still agree, like, 5 years is maybe still not enough to make something like, oh yeah, the classics from back in the day. But
I would chalk it up.
5 years difference of games back then would have been substantial enough.
I would chalk it up to like the leaps in technology, like you mentioned, that anything that was running off of a Z80, like a Zilog processor, which is like, how the early games came out, like likes of a Space Invader running off like a singular chip there. And so those were almost immediately dated in a sort of way, but also like things were just moving so fast that in the consumer's mind, anything that was like a year or 2 old that had already come to the value labels, that had already come to the budget releases, they were seeing that as old hat. Because even within the microcomputer scene, like, you're getting hardware revisions, you're getting like additional like, RAM expansions for your systems that can enable like way more impressive graphics, and more processing and all that stuff. So like there were like advancements being made internally there as well, to where games coming out for the ZX Spectrum in 1989 are smoking games that were coming out for it like back in 83, 84 at all. So there is something to be said for that as well. But classics, it rings so strange because there's so many conversations now about what retro is and what the cutoff point for that is. And to see them using it so like just flagrantly here, just tossing it around. Yeah, you do feel a sort of way about it, don't you?
Yeah, it is still funny, yeah.
So we'll move along to the first game we're actually going to play tonight, as a matter of fact. The first compilation we will explore, which is 1992's Arcade Smash Hits for the Sega Master System. I do believe this is the first arcade game compilation to release for consoles. I think this is the first, unless my research led me wrong, which it sometimes does. So this is developed by Images Software on behalf of Virgin Games. They were tasked with cloning a trio of Atari arcade titles under license from Atari. Atari did sign off on this, the use of their games, their IPs here. So this comes out, and for their efforts, the reception to this is pretty mixed. There's, plenty of 80s out of 100, but there's also 50s and 30s, just as many. So people who were like impressed by this said that is all about value proposition to them. The people who rated this highly are just like, this is a great deal. This is a great bundle. This is a great like budget purchase if you want to get like more bang for your buck. And these games are still classic. And then people who were on the negative end of reviewing it were just saying like, yeah, you can't replay these old games. They keep them in the past because, who's going to get mileage out of Missile Command or whatever. Like, that's how quickly stuff was moving. They were seeing like this era of games as like inherently worthless in a way.
Yeah. And then that guy became to become the CEO of PlayStation.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not true. But
no, but it would be funny if.
Yeah.
Speaking of, it'd be funny if I got this game up and running for the folk at home.
Yeah. Also, I agree with Mr. Tucker in chat that was the sickest interpretation of Centipede. That box art in general, like, off the Master System box art really bad. That was great, that box art. Now, this image, on the other hand...
Yeah, who the fuck is this guy? Who's this sentient booger? I'm just gonna level the audio real quick. You know, we're probably fine. Okay, so we have versions of...
That...
Oh.
I was going to say that was actually Sonic the Hedgehog in his primordial state.
Yeah.
For a second, I finished him up. They got him out of the vat early.
We have...
go fast!
versions of Centipede. If you wait too long, it cuts away to like these. Here's how many points you'll get in the games to follow. Versions of Centipede, Breakout, Missile Command. They have options in-game. And as we get into these games, they all have bespoke intros, new intros, starring this disgusting creature. So let's see Centipede. We'll start from the top. Got our options here. You know, this is probably fine. Yeah, I'll stick with 4. We're not going to be playing any of these games too long.
Oh, he's fuzzy.
Yeah, I think I was second thought he was like a bowl of seaweed or something.
I'm no good at Centipede. Give me your opinions on Centipede.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Fuck.
Yeah, it's alright, but I've never really enjoyed it that much when I've tried it.
It's like more freeform, yet more frustrating Space Invaders.
Yeah, I mean, I can see the through line. I can see what they were going for, but it don't work for me. I like being on that fixed axis. Also, it moves a little too fast for me. I feel it's a bit too twitchy in versions that I've played, especially this one.
Like, it's been a long time since I've actually played Arcade Centipede, but this version seems particularly fast.
It is about this. This is maybe a little faster. Like them coming down there seemed especially ludicrously fast. Maybe like it's the game logic is a little too fast.
I could be totally wrong though. Like I said, it's been a very long time since I played original Centipede. Now, something that we won't see, I believe, on this series is that era in the PlayStation 1 days where Atari was like, let's do new sexy versions of, like, all of our games. And, like, I remember playing that version of Centipede for a bit. Like, I rented that. But you recall those games? Like, they did a Pong one, they did a Q*bert one.
Yes, absolutely. We gotta find a format to show those off because they are so strange. Oh, man, yeah, that was... You can't let them get behind your lines. You can survive for a bit, but...
Z-Reserve asks, was Original Centipede a trackball game?
In arcades?
I don't remember
check.
offhand.
I will say, people were asking about the Master System's trackball, which was called the Sports Pad. As far as I could tell, it did not work with this. It only worked with 3 games, so...
Okay.
Let me look. Centipede Arcade.
What's that? What are you trying to say, Slimeball? Little Timmy stuck in the well?
Oh, that this is one of the worst arcade games? Huh, okay.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Breakout either. So...
Okay, yeah. Centipede was trackball, it looks like. Though it looks like there might have also been... Okay, no. These are weird mini arcades that for some reason use a stick, but I think the actual original machine is trackball, yeah.
Can't help but notice, by the way, this is the same music as as the Centipede we just played, and I don't particularly love this.
That's called a leitmotif.
Oh, yes. Clearly I am the one.
It's like Undertale. Dark Tetsuya says, my mom was interested in the PSX Pong remake. Well, I remember having to wait for Christmas to play that one. My sister really wanted the Q*bert PS1 game. And I got it for her. And she never ended up playing it. So that's just something I ended up playing instead.
Every time Q*bert comes up,
Oh,
I'm sorry to invoke it, but Pixels is all I can think of, and how badly that one character wanted to fuck Q*bert, and their dream came true at the end.
I mean, that's not quite how it plays out. I mean, yes, the end part's true, but it's not because they were into Q*bert. But yeah, no, I'm also a little familiar with those weird PS1 remakes, the old Atari stuff. As mentioned, I was getting PlayStation 1 demo discs very late. So, like, in 2001 era, That's the kind of stuff you would get on demo discs. Was look at this weird modern take on Pong, where the Pong paddles are like their own personality.
Oh fuck.
Like this one's quirky, and this one.
Oh hey, you're getting to the
Doesn't pay
part of
taxes.
Breakout. That sucks.
Yep.
Fuck. This is what passed for a good time back in the day. I don't recall classic Breakout having these scrolling backgrounds that are like a fucking eyesore to look at.
Oh yeah.
No.
I was ignoring it, but like yeah, if you focus on the wrong thing, it.
There is a button I can hold to move the paddle faster. Like, to like, you know,
Yeah.
get like in the corner when I have to, but, you know, without the benefit of the dial style, the paddle style of controller that this
paddle
really
or trackball,
demands.
Yeah, no, it's the big curse with a lot of, you know, like 70s and even a few 80s arcade to home ports.
Oh my god, I don't want to play any more of this, by the way.
Trying to play them on a D-pad. Even analog stick was not great most of the time.
Yeah, I
you
took
didn't have many
the
options. Like
mercy kill me
you
on
could use
that.
the neck con on PlayStation, the twisty controller. All right, missile command. Here we go. The music of the universe.
Slimy, were you trying to do a September 11th? Yeah, this is Missile Command.
Yep. Hey,
More or
I also
less.
don't like this game too much.
Oh, I don't mind it.
Oh no, I like missile command.
So I can press one button of the two buttons on the Master System I can press to change which cannon I'm manning.
Oh,
And the other one shoots.
Okay, I don't like that control method. I know with this system you probably didn't have many options, but
No.
actually,
your
let me look at
D-pad
Master
and two
System
buttons.
controller.
I don't know, it works well enough. It works as well as any version of this was going to run without the benefit of a trackball and
Right.
bespoke
Do you
control
even
over the
have a
missile
start
silos. Yep. No, it does have a start button. It's just, you know.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
There you go.
Where is it then?
Myth confirmed.
Is it like on the side or something?
I couldn't picture a Master System controller in my head right now. I'm sad to say. I'm
It's
ashamed to
just
say.
It's a D-pad and two buttons.
Yeah. Yeah,
But there
I
is
meant
also
separate
a
of
start
the
button
two
on there
buttons.
as well.
And a start button, yes. Two face buttons.
Yeah, you know, it's Missile Command. It's the best game on this cartridge, to be sure.
No, the start button was on the console.
Oh, yep, they did do it that way. Oh, I blew it. Sorry, cities.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
I mean, I think there were, like... Weren't there some, like, revisions of some of those controllers? Perhaps?
Maybe in like one region or something.
I wonder if that was a
I did see
power-up
one-
or something. I just
I did
shot
see one
out
version
here.
controller where they just put like a stick in
Yeah,
the D-pad. Didn't make
Robin-
analog or anything.
Yeah, Robin says there is not a third button. It's 1/start and 2.
Yeah, that's what I saw. Yeah. Yeah, no, the
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Cass. Got me
Yeah.
confused. Thanks, Cass.
You're very welcome. It's
people
what I'm here
forget
for.
when consoles had reset buttons on them. They go back to like Atari 2600 and the other ones where they had.
That ball I was
difficulty
trying to shoot out the air
selects.
was bouncing every time I hit it. I don't remember how to deal
Yeah.
with those effectively.
Yeah, is that like the satellites? But yeah, like if I'm gonna play Missile Command, I'm gonna play with a trackball or a mouse.
Yeah, no, this is it's playable, but just.
Yeah.
You know, it's a
Yeah, I think-
somewhat faithful recreation of the original thing. So
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, I think
that's
part of the
plus
reason I'm not a fan of Missile Command is I've never actually played a Missile Command cabinet. So anytime I've played it, it has been in some sort of compromised way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the one thing doing a conversion like this is you can build it around this control scheme more.
Well,
that's brutal.
That's yeah, fucked. Well, it
Is it-
actually seemed to miss almost everything.
Yeah, lucky me. But yeah, you know, so it. New music.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh
This...
no, just temporarily.
Well, isn't yeah? This is different music from the first two games, though.
Yes, it does have a unique soundtrack.
And clearly very European 8-bit chiptune coded. Which I think someone in chat earlier mentioned that the studio, what was it, Images?
Images, yeah.
Eventually became Climax UK.
Oh, no kidding, huh? This is where I lose track of the game, by the way. This is where I around the time where I'm helpless to defend.
Yeah. Okay, now does the trick from Chuck work where you play Rush in the background and you play along?
You'll have to be the judge of that on your own time, because I'm going to call it there for my time with this version of Missile Command. I'm going to call it there for arcade smash hits from 1992, the first console arcade compilation, I think. So we'll move on to the next one, why don't we? Which this one comes courtesy of Atari themselves, leveraging their own IPs. They saw that arcade smash hits, and they're like, we could do probably better than this. And so on the Atari LYNX, we get 1994's Super Asteroids and Missile Command. So, I mentioned that, they saw that. I don't know if they actually saw arcade smash hits or not. I think they just recognized that, they had a lot of legacy IP, a lot of classic games, that there's probably money to be made in rehashing those. It was probably a pretty natural thought to land on. The VCS, the Atari 2600, just think about like how many of the top sellingest games, the most top sellingest game for it, conversion to Pac-Man. Like people were buying the VCS to get home versions of arcade games. That was like the move. That's what brought them to the dance. So it's only natural that Atari would be the first to like plumb their legacy up and to start to market in that nostalgia in some sort of way. So I mentioned developed by Atari. They actually contracted out to one guy who did all the programming, all the graphics, who did everything for this game. That's one Steve Marshner, who develops this game for the Atari LYNX, who develops two games in one for the Atari LYNX. We are going to cut now to the Atari LYNX. Assisting that we need to feature more on this show because I'm not convinced there's a single good video game for it.
Nah, that's not fair. Funny enough, like a lot of the releases on this are conversions of Atari stuff.
Arcade, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that was just Atari's thinking at the time, was just like, make him remember the good times, because we're not going through them right now. We are going through bad times in the 90s.
Yeah. I remember certain Atari because of the weird splinter off with Williams, and so not Defender, for example, and other stuff. It gets complicated tracking what Atari's what at the time.
Get a load of this public domain music, by the way. That's how cheap this was. Yep. You notice that Steve Marshner fell out?
Maybe their composer had some ideas for music, and it's one of those things where you make something, and it's like, oh, someone else did this first, and it just sounds exactly like it.
ARB to play. Do we want to do Super Asteroids or Super Missile Command? I'll start with Asteroids. We haven't done Asteroids yet.
Yeah. I can dig Asteroids.
Oh my god, you can free fire. You're limited in how many bullets you can shoot in regular Asteroids, but...
Oh, we fade out.
Oh. Okay.
The next day...
Oh, there we go.
Meanwhile...
Back in town...
Yeah, you can... If you can guess where the asteroids are going to spawn, you can do asteroids pretty quick. And, I'm barely even moving.
That's honestly real disorienting, having, like, just the crossfade between levels.
It's so they can reset the position of your ship, because what happens in classic Asteroids, you beat a level, and then you're flying around in empty space for a few seconds, and then it pops the asteroids in, and your position is remembered, so you can like spawn right next to an asteroid. So they're trying to they're doing that to demonstrate no, we're gonna clear the board here.
Ooh. Nice.
We have the benefit of the shield, so we can take a few hits. For whatever that may be worth.
Robin the MB asks if this version has the teleport button. Isn't that Asteroids 2?
I'm pressing every button, and there does not appear to be a teleport.
Well, you press the button to call for assistance, and
you have the shield,
and you killed them. So good job.
Yeah, if you have the shield, then I doubt you have the teleport.
This does definitely seem like a far more forgiving version of Asteroids.
Yeah, I mean, it ramps up. At a certain point, this screen will be dense with asteroids, meteors, UFOs et al.
Yeah, but still giving you that shield, like completely resetting the playfield on each time. I'm not saying these are as bad things. I'm saying this is seems like a way more accessible version of Asteroids.
No doubt. I wonder if there are shield pickups. I wonder if I can replay. Oh, it was actually slowly recharging, but I ended up draining it anyway. Yep.
Although I actually don't see what.
Oh, it's OG. Okay.
Yeah, original Asteroids has a teleport button.
Well, there's a thingy.
Yeah.
I don't see what you're seeing that shows you how much shield you have.
It's the bar on the right-hand side. See that?
Oh, okay. Now I see it.
Oh, okay, yeah. Even I assumed it was something to do with the numbers at the top. Okay,
I think
yeah.
maybe by the time I was like looking for it, you had drained it already.
Also, yeah,
so.
Chad's right. I'm mixing up Asteroids and Deluxe. When you see them side by side, they're very easy games to mix up.
Oh, I think I shot the pickup by accidento. That's all right. This is an all right version of Asteroids, of Super Asteroids, as it were. I like an Asteroids well enough. This would have suited you just fine if you were a real Asteroids head. You know, maybe it takes a while to get, like, particularly difficult. Or, you know, maybe it gets plenty difficult now.
Orange.
Maybe I'm just...
I wonder if Blasteroids would have been out at this point.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Okay, that's something. Oh, you got a spread shot.
Ooh, nice.
Might have less
Blasteroids
range.
is the one I hear that's
really look at
messes
that
the
spawn.
formula.
Come on. I don't think it
so the
drained
thing
my
you were
shield.
talking about
but
earlier.
It did not affect my shield. I think they were...
All right.
Oh, I like this with spread shot, though.
I feel like this is a bad habit I get into when I play Asteroids, which is just never moving, just acting like I'm a turret.
Oh, yeah, that's because there's a game by the name of Star Castle that is that and is really fun, if I'm remembering the name of the game correctly. But it is just like turret, center of the screen. Oop. Knocked out of orbit.
Well, no, I
for a
get it,
second
because sometimes once you get momentum going, it's really hard to stop.
Yeah, but if you get in a situation like this, I mean, granted, this is unique to this game, but like, if you get bumped, then your momentum is so great that, like, you know,
Yeah,
it becomes even harder to adjust.
I would have loved to have seen. You know what? Fuck it. I want to see what that other power-up is. Because it is a different color. Can I do it without getting killed? Do I have any sort of...
Yeah,
Hey!
that was
That's a
shield.
shield recharge. So maybe there's more weapons. Who's to say? But I don't know. I think that's fine.
Yeah,
How
yeah.
easy is it to get to the main menu?
I did A, B, select start, and I think my R1 button, whatever that's bound to. Again, I have Atari links I can get from
R1's
over
probably-
there, but
Yeah, no, there's an actual reset button on the console, so you probably press that.
probably. Anyway, Super
Yeah,
Missile
if you want to
Command.
restart your game, just hold L1, L2, R1, R2, start, triangle, circle, and hit reset on your console.
Yeah. No, a fun fact about the Bad Game Hall of Fame, at least 2 of us own Atari Lynxes.
This is a more classic looking version.
This is, yeah. Okay, can you find... Okay, so how you find from the other
Oh,
pods?
jeez.
I have a
I'm pressing
theory.
a button to cycle, but
Oh,
it's
okay.
not going well.
This seems like a significantly worse version than the Master System version.
Mm-hmm.
This is
That is the thing
probably
about-
more true, though.
Yeah, and
Which
that's the
is-
thing about the
yes.
truer ones, is they are also a lot harder.
It's just, I'm so spoiled by the other game having him travel so fast.
I forget which version, it might be the Atari 2600 one, where the missile place you fire from is based on where the cursor is.
Yeah.
So, like,
you know, it is doing
which
that,
was a weird way
actually,
of
now you
handling it.
mention it.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's also
there
a
you go.
sound that plays when I press the other button on the links, as if it is cycling
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, it's funny because the
just
Atari
a fidget button.
Lynx,
It's just to give you something
yeah.
to do.
I can't remember if this is
Get the
both
submarine.
models or if this is the second model. It technically has 4 face buttons, but it's just A and B twice because it's the one handheld system you can play flipped with the D-pad on the right if you want. There's a dedicated button on the console that flips the screen if you if you prefer your D-pad on the right.
Oh
anytime
my
I see Missile
god.
Command, I'm just thinking when I say anytime I see it, I mean when I see it with like something resembling the original graphics. I'm just thinking like I want to play Scorched Earth.
Goddamn
Just
right.
because seeing like the tracers and seeing like the way the explosions are drawn, and that's just Scorched Earth style. I don't know
But
what
yeah,
you
so
would call. It's not really vector at a certain point. It's sort of like style of the way these tracers are being drawn, the way these explosions are being done. I don't know if there's a specific word for that
Do you mean in
style of
original
art style.
arcade where it was all lines,
Look at this.
like a ribbon?
I
Well,
mean, that'd be like
that's-
Wyvern. That would be vector graphics.
That would be vector,
Yeah.
but that's not what I'm talking about.
Okay. Also, yeah, wow, this is different.
Yeah.
I'll take the metata. Oh, there's multiple pages to the shop that I'm cycling between.
Oh,
I like
okay.
you're specifically using euros to buy these.
So does Armageddon just end the game?
Let's find out.
Oh, yep, creative name in chat says it's like Fantasy Zone.
That's a fun one.
Okay,
So-
I bet that
Okay.
toggle button you were hitting is
Yes.
the toggle if you're going to use your power up or
Yes,
not. Yeah.
I get it.
Yep. Okay, so that button to buy. This button to cycle. I want the Megaton warheads. I'm hoping that these are permanent upgrades. I wonder what experimental could be. And then the other page is the is your bomb button.
Remote.
Effectively.
Okay, this is getting more interesting now. Now that we have like all this stuff.
I keep pressing the wrong button.
Yeah, I kind of wish Super Asteroids had stuff like this as well. Though maybe it does if you get far enough.
Like the thing that I
They did have the
think,
power-ups at least, yeah.
just looking at this, the thing that I think is like holding it back at the moment is the speed of the cursor.
Yeah, it's definitely a little sluggish.
Oh, I think part of the speed of the cursor, in part, I feel like you don't have enough screen real estate, or we're a little too zoomed in, maybe.
It's because it's a widescreen-esque presentation of the graphics on LYNX. It definitely feels like you have less room to work with vertically in a game where everything's coming from the top of screen.
Yeah.
I definitely think the landing ground space was also smaller relative to the screen space you had in the arcade version.
Might well be.
But yeah, the cursor speed is definitely, I think, like the limiting factor here.
Yeah.
If you can make it past the requisite number of stages to get to the shop, this is a lot more fun now that I have like a progression hook, like some element of
Yeah,
like
yeah.
building up to something.
Oh.
Yeah, no, this be a LYNX game.
Oh,
potentially-
missile
Yeah,
coming
it's
for you.
fucked. There's just no. That wasn't gonna make it there in time. I don't know. I like this one. It is probably a better version than the original game. You know, I don't know about the Super release. I don't know if there was an arcade Super Missile Command. There probably was. You know, who's to say there wasn't?
Well, I couldn't find it on Twitch at least. Couldn't find this specific compilation either on Twitch.
Yeah, no.
unfortunately.
Expect to not find most, if not any, of the games tonight,
Yeah.
besides like maybe like Williams Arcade Classic. Because then you be prepared for that to be the wrong versions of it versus what we're actually playing.
Yeah, yeah.
But I don't know, like, I'm not upset with this collection. In fact, I'd say this is probably a pretty decent little thing, you know, that serves the purpose of handheld gaming in my mind, which is just something light, casual, that you can drop in, drop out of, that's just to kill time a little bit.
Like I say, I do
Yeah.
like how they are more expanded than the original versions without like being like too much. Like they've had just enough interesting things to add some sort of reason to want to keep playing it.
You know, I could really be, like, less frugal with my ammo in this, too. I'm discovering as the game goes on. I could just be
There was an
littering
option
this
for
guy.
extra ammo in the shop.
Huh?
Oh, game over.
Did all your
Last City got destroyed over
Yeah.
on the right.
Oh, yeah, duh. Rip. Well, that's as good a point as any to drop it. Maybe there's more to be played, more to be enjoyed in that game. Maybe they start putting more enemies in. Who's to say? But that one, Super Asteroids Missile Command for the Atari LYNX, gets a passing grade from me.
Hell yeah. The Lynx strikes again.
There we go. We found one good Atari Lynx game. Funny that. And it just took making 2 classic arcade games. Funny that. Okay. Everything up till now, child's play, brother. 1995, the Floodgates Open. The Floodgate on classic game compilations is heralded from on high by the advent of the CD-ROM, allowing for massive storage capacities compared to the past, your 3.5 floppy diskette carrying a grand total of 1.33 megabytes of data, etc., etc., as well as, when it comes to the PCs, we're getting systems at this point that are powerful enough, PCs powerful enough to facilitate the effective emulation of older arcade titles. Just a quick breakdown for folk in the audience who aren't necessarily versed in what's the difference between a port, a conversion, and emulation. Let's hit that point home because there are differences between them. So, port means that you make a game, it's written in whatever code it's written in, all its assets, and you can straight up copy and paste that onto another platform. That the platform you're bringing it over to understands the same language, runs in more or less the same way. You can just bring your game over almost like dragging and dropping. It's never as simple as dragging and dropping, but it is effectively the one-to-one copy of that game across platforms. That's a port. Conversion is when the game cannot be ported, where the systems are too disparate, as most were in this era, where, an arcade cabinet, you can't always just swap out a singular chip and then run a different game off of it. It's not that simple. In the same way you can't put an NES cartridge into a Sega Genesis. They're incompatible hardware. And so you have to endeavor to rebuild these games from some extent. Maybe you can reuse the assets. Maybe those art files transfer over well enough so the games look the same, but under the hood, you've got complete different code bases, just out of whatever necessity, to whatever extent they need to be. So that's a conversion. And, most of what everything we've dealt with so far has been conversion work. And most of what we will be dealing with tonight is conversions. But what you're seeing here and what is what is more acceptable nowadays, what you mostly see when it comes to older games getting re-released is emulation. And that's what something like a Williams Arcade Classics or this Activision Atari 2600 Action Pack or Commodore 64 15 pack, all of these PC releases on the left and center. And these leverage emulation because they're coming out for Windows, and Windows had enough RAM and CPU and had enough processing power that you could recreate the conditions of the original system within that operating system. You had enough overhead on a system that you could design an emulator program that would execute the original code in whatever ROM file capacity, whatever format those ROMs are, .bins, not specific, but we call them ROMs generally speaking. And it would just execute it. It would try to recreate the hardware, the guts of the system in question, be that a 2600 moving into the NES era or arcade hardware. It would create a little system inside the system that would run these games as close as they could to accurate, again, depending on how powerful your system was. So you could get variable performance out of that in this era in particular of every machine coming with different specs. It's also difficult to gauge at this point who exactly was the first to strike on this, whether it was Activision or Williams between the arcade classics in the center here and the Activision packs you're seeing on the left-hand side where they're putting out all their classic console games. But Williams were definitely the ones who took it the most seriously, who took the concept of treating their old games with venerance and legacy, a sense of a pride in calling them classics. Williams definitely were had that part down, and in the pursuit of that, they had development of the process of bringing these games over to PC to a then recently founded conversion and port house by the name of Digital Eclipse. This is where Digital Eclipse gets their start, is in working in the likes on the likes of Williams Arcade Classics, preceding a legacy of mostly conversion, porting, and emulation work. And their emulation at this time, there's been articles written about how they were able to make these old arcade games run near perfectly on Windows PCs. Not just Windows 95, but also I believe Windows 3.1 supports, if memory serves, which is a feat all in and of itself. And, the thing is, we're still on the PC here for the most part. I focus on these ones on the left, and these are all different Windows releases. It would take some time before these started filtering their way to console because the consoles weren't going to be able to do the emulation. That's the thing. They went with PC first because they're going to get the most accurate versions they could do, and anything that was going to come out on consoles of this era, of the SNES Genesis generation, were going to have to be, by the nature of those systems, they couldn't run a system inside of a system the way that a PC could. So anything there was going to have to be conversion work. And we'll get to that in just a minute, because the first company to see the potential in bringing these to handheld and console platforms would have been Williams. On the right-hand side, you do see, I almost wish I hadn't put the Namco Museum image here, but we probably should address these as long as they're on screen. So Nintendo gets the idea to start doing Game & Watch galleries. So their idea, this is like conversion work, but it is preservation work in a certain sense. They have their line of Game & Watches, dedicated LCD handhelds from back in the day, and they get the idea to start bundling those, remaking those games, offering a classic mode and modern mode, so you're getting like 2 games for each game included. The first Game & Watch gallery has 4 games built in, so really you get like 8 games if you want to try to sell it in that sort of way. And there's modern reimaginings and also sort of historic attempts to recreate these old Game & Watch games. And I loved Game & Watch Gallery, in particular 2 and 3. I just think they had some of the best games on those, some of the best Game & Watch games, and so I got a lot of mileage out of maxing out the scores on those and unlocking stuff in the museum section, so I could see what Game & Watch games didn't make the cut, and even unlocking some bonus games as you got cracked at playing the versions of the main games listed on those. So I thought those were really neat back in the day, and I probably still do, and so definitely not bad game Hall of Fame material. And neither is Namco Museum, which is Namco feeling their oats a little bit, putting out their arcade games on PS1. And I think these do leverage some amount of emulation. I'm pretty sure these are emulated, that there's an emulator that runs within the PS1 to facilitate these games, which is something of a miracle in and of itself, because, even for that generation, even moving into the PS1, even those consoles, PS1 and N64, getting emulation to run on that is definitely a Herculean effort. You really don't have a lot of overhead to work with.
There's a tiny few examples. The only other example I know on N64, funny enough, is Donkey Kong 64. Has emulators in it.
Funny enough,
GoldenEye
GoldenEye 007 has a working ZX Spectrum emulator built into it.
Yeah.
Not that it's used for anything, but
yeah,
it showed that they were toying around with the idea. That Rare was toying around with that idea for their legacy ZX Spectrum games, so on and so forth. But we'll keep this show moving because we mentioned that this is 1995 is where everyone starts getting in on it. Williams are the first to realize the potential of and start to commission conversions of this arcade classics, sort of recreation as close as they could do for home consoles of the period, rebranded as Williams Arcade's greatest hits across most cases. So bring it to every platform of the day worth releasing games for, and maybe even a few that weren't worth releasing games for, but we'll get to that when we get to that. For now, we're going to continue. I mentioned Nintendo and their Game & Watch gallery, but Nintendo also had another idea. They went a sort of unique route in bringing classic arcade games to the Game Boy. 4 for 1 here. So what Nintendo decided to do was to license individual arcade games from the original manufacturers, or license 2 at a time, to release these 2-packs in the Arcade Classic line, comprising these 4 releases here. So the first 2, on the left-hand side, Asteroids and Missile Command, and then Classic 2, Centipede and Millipede. These were licensed through Atari, and then they outsourced development to a little studio by the name of the Code Monkeys. Frequent villains, recurring villains on this program, the Bad Game Hall of Fame. But this is arguably where they got to start. Arthur Frappe Fiasco points out that Digital Eclipse's arcade emulated games came out on Mac first in 1994. Mac Pride. Ooh, nice. Yeah, you would know that, you nerd. But yes, thank you. That is an important point to make. In being comprehensive about this stuff and being correct about this stuff and all. The later 2 compilations in the Arcade Classic line, the Galaga Galaxian and the Defender Joust, Those were obviously licensed through Namco and Williams, respectively. And they were developed as well by those developers, as I'm to understand it. They had teams internally at Namco and Williams that, or that they outsourced through their own means, through their own channels, to get those games made. And we're going to play each of these. I have each of these on hand. I just don't want to throw up the box graphic 4 separate times. I just want to show them all on one screen here. But we'll start with the first release, Arcade Classic 1, Asteroids Missile Command, released July 1995. And someone else can play this. I want to break. Who here likes Asteroids and Missile Command enough to take over?
I'll give these a go.
Should just be that you have control. Let me know if not, but let's see this intro too.
Yeah. Now, I will say, as bad as Code Monkeys are, I do hear that their arcade to handheld conversion work was their better era.
I'm just surprised they managed to fit an entire Dingo's Picture movie into the Game Boy cart.
Their greatest innovation yet.
The music got better. I thought it was just going to be...
Yeah, it's not good. I'll grant you that it's not good at all. I'm lowering it in the mix. I don't want to fucking hear this.
I want to make sure I'm definitely tabbed in.
So you're saying you don't have control? Oh, yep.
No, I do. No. It looked like you just pressed A or B. No, you had to press the button, then press start to get into the game.
Ah.
That's a something, all right.
Oh, there they
There
are.
we go. Good job, Elliot. All right. The best blasters. Oh, yeah, credit them twice.
I always
super
like when they have the
options.
options.
So this one does have hyper.
Yep.
Oh, and graphic style.
Well, let's see the thrusters up. Can you actually... Yeah, you can customize these. Okay, I'll leave it to the default. Nope, never mind.
These are enhanced graphics, yeah.
This
All
is
right, that
the
was hyper.
LSS 5.
They yassified my asteroids.
Oh!
Yeah, this is a more classic take on asteroids than super asteroids. Are you gonna figure out how to use your damn thrusters? Come on.
I don't know, I just wanted to get a feel for the speed of Finn's first.
It's choppy. Because having to update so many things per frame.
Whee!
Okay, you used hyper there. That's why you disagreed, right? Okay.
They have enough degrees of shooting.
Yeah,
Right.
8.
No, there's more than 8.
Yeah.
This looks to be 16. I could be wrong about that. There's definitely stages between. Every,
1, 2.
angle has 2 directions it can go,
Yeah.
maybe. At least the diagonals do.
I tell you something that's fun about, and by fun I mean infuriating, when doing pixel art is if you're trying to rotate something that is like a straight line, and then you find the angles where it's impossible to do that, and you're like, okay, which way is this dick gonna dangle? So I wanted to kind of lean to the left a little bit or lean to the right.
Yeah. One thing I'm trying to remember with the Game Boy. Oh, wow, that was quick. Because the way this is done monochrome. Was it white or the dark tones?
This would be a
it had
Super
to use
Game Boy
power?
palette being applied to this, I believe.
It
Oh,
would most likely be, the background would most likely be the lighter tones, or a null tone.
Yeah, because
Oh, right.
if it was black,
cheaper.
then the
Yeah.
update. Yeah, also if it was black, then the ghosting effect on the things moving through would be brutal.
yeah. So you'd want the white background for this.
Okay, let's see these other graphics.
Yeah, we'll just do this real quick, just to...
There we go.
Yep.
Cute. It's cute that they have this. I don't think it makes much...
in space.
I doubt this has any impact on the gameplay. I'm sure it is just straight up swapping out the sprites, but that's fine. It's just
you
a
shoot
choice.
these mushroom slices.
I'll say visually, I find it a bit easier to read for some reason. I'm not sure why. But yeah, like it doesn't feel like it's running great.
No, it's not.
And I'm not sure about this turning speed. I know you might have to say, because you just played the LYNX version, if this turning speed is better or slower, or if this is just
I
how
have
it
no
was.
memory of what I just played. Are you asking me to remember
Fair
back
enough.
to 5 minutes ago? You crazy?
Whoop, whoop, whoop. Ah, I should have warped.
Hey, you cleared a stage. Now get out of here and get back to that main menu.
Whoa.
Hey, how do you get back to the main menu?
You can try.
Yep, all buns. I just broke it for a second there.
Oh no, you pressed the self-destruct button. Your Game Boy will never work again.
Throw up the virtual keyboard on Windows somehow.
Don't jinx the show. It's that happened once during one of our programs, so it's... Oh, you just jumped right in. You didn't even want to see those settings, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I want to see them, so...
Yeah. No, that's...
I know you're just trying to skip
There were no
the-
settings.
Yeah.
I was... Oh, you're right.
Huh.
Well,
This is
Right,
going
I
to
think
be
it's like a
trading back
two-player.
and forth.
Okay.
Oh, select also... Oh, I might have accidentally select 2-player. Oh,
Yeah,
well.
you
did.
did.
Okay, so A does that. Oh, so
You can
they've
al-
literally cut it down to 2 missiles.
Yeah,
I have
so...
an A and I have a B. So
Yeah,
the
you're gonna
faster
beat this
shooting middle
stage.
one. Oh
You're gonna-
dear.
You're gonna beat the stage and say, connect your link cable now.
These explosions stay
That
on
would be-
screen for a minute.
Yeah, they stay
That would
on
be a
minute.
missile command multiplayer idea, right? You have one person be the missile command and one person be the commanding the missiles.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool actually.
Also, we're specifically
can-
in Cairo, Egypt.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can beat myself.
Well, as opposed
Yeah,
to
also-
the Great Pyramids of Memphis, Tennessee.
I also feel like the actual missile speed is way slower as well. So the fact that these aftershocks are able to get to... you
I'd
know,
attribute this to a
missiles-
balancing. I think they recognize
Oh,
you
yeah.
have less cannons, so what we'll do for
Like, look,
you...
watch. I put that explosive like 10 seconds ago. Oh yeah, it makes it far easier. I'm not gonna see it obviously, but I'd be curious how they ramp this up.
Just more shit coming down.
Yeah.
The planes dropping off
I know,
the
but
cluster
just
bombs. Yeah.
With how much after explosion you have.
How many cities you might find besides Cairo?
Oh, I like this ship noise. It's like the beginning of Cars by Randy Newman. Randy Newman?
So you're definitely going to want to blow that
Not
up
Randy
before-
Newman.
Not Randy Newman.
Gary Newman.
There we go, Gary Newman. Yeah, I said it and then immediately went, that's wrong.
Here
What
in
was
my car.
I got
everything's
nothing.
the fault.
I always just think of the Will Sasso Star Wars, Randy Newman doing the soundtrack for Episode 1.
Yeah.
A classic of comedy. Jedi Knights are ready to fight. In the space base built by Admiral Akbar.
There we go.
I
All
wish
right,
I had a better Randy Newman impression.
Oh yeah, I wish I did too. Because I would
So,
just walk
quick way
around the
to-
house singing that to myself all day. I did that. I legitimately, there were days where I would just be home alone and just be like,
friend in me.
That's better than my only
Yeah.
impression is just loud. That's the only thing I can
Oh
think
yeah.
of how to do
Well,
it.
you do also have to be loud, yeah.
"Are you done with that? You quit?
No, I'm gonna swap graphics.
You can't.
You
There's
can't.
no.
There was no
there's no
options.
settings.
Oh right. Yep. I think we're done on that.
No, I want to see a satellite.
Oh, okay.
There it is.
Look, there's a satellite here.
Are you gonna blow it up?
Nope.
I want to see if they change the stage because they said Cairo, and I wonder if there is.
Yeah, how many other cities have pyramids near them?
I get that they're gonna change the background. As my presumption here is that there are more stages. They will swap out the background tile.
I would like to assume that they don't swap out the background tiles, or swap out the background tiles, and they just find new cities with pyramids near them, like somewhere in Mexico. I know there are more pyramids out there. I can't think of it. It's like near a Bass Pro Shop.
Yeah, I was gonna
something.
say New York. Oh no! Oh God, no!
Wait, no, listen. You see them in the background? Those can't get hit.
Okay,
those
thank
are just
God.
background elements.
Oy vey. The Statue of Liberty, though, it gets fucked up in this. You won't believe it.
This is the prequel to Deus Ex.
I'm noticing though that I feel like the missiles kind of drop bias to one side.
Well, they
But maybe
might.
that's just the result of having like just 2 missile silos. Is if you can section off your 2 sections easier, and when you have like the 3rd one in the middle. That's a cute rendition of the Statue of Liberty, though.
Yeah, this is a cute version of Missile Command that is clearly balanced in a way to make the game easier in the face of having like less defenses, technically, having less of the towers to fall back on. Not towers, the missile silos. Yeah. So this is an example.
Some Tech Bros sick new idea for a new Twin Towers.
Oh yeah, put lasers on the top of it so that.
No, not even that.
Well,
they want to make them data centers.
Oh, sick! Yeah.
And I think in Chicago too.
Oh.
Now does that carry over between levels?
We'll see. Yeah, they do let you.
Oh,
shoot,
I realize
like,
why this
close.
is taking so long. By the way, is because you picked 2 players, so you're doing every level twice.
No, they're waiting for you to still player 1. Oh wait, no, you're right. The scoreboard at the bottom totally does.
Yeah. Yes.
Whoopsies.
Yeah, that's why I try to reset, but it's okay.
And now we gotta know
that might do it.
And I do like how it is more tuned for the hardware.
We do have to hang in for one more to see if they restore your missile silo between levels, though. You want just like Armageddon? Here you go.
Yeah.
Bye, player 2.
Hey, I
Or
still got
player
some
1. Hardly knew ye.
The really long explosion time though is really funny. I do like it though.
Oh, you still have a city stand-in, so. Okay, yeah, you get to keep the missile silo, so that's good to know.
Yeah.
And that'll do it for Asteroids and Missile Command. That was fine. I think it had a better version of Missile Command, a more considered version for the hardware of Missile Command. Yeah. The Asteroids seemed a little choppy, but otherwise probably playable. This is Centipede and Millipede, and Sharky, you do this one.
All right, I want to play a game with this one.
Okay.
Right?
Game on.
I am going to close my eyes. Y'all are going to pick one of the games, launch into it, and I'm going to guess if I'm playing Millipede or Centipede.
Okay. I'm going to press A and B a few times. I'm just going to shuffle it here.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right. Now press start.
Okay.
Keep your eyes closed.
Uh-huh.
It's going through the title sequence, so keep your eyes closed, because I'm sure they're going to show the... Press start. All right, no settings for this. Press start again. And
again?
Once more. Okay. You can open your eyes.
Oh. That's an interesting way.
I think I'm playing Millipede.
You are correct.
All right.
Yeah. Okay, I do have a question, though. Was DDT always in Millipede?
Maybe not specifically DDT, but I think Bug Spray was in Millipede.
I know.
I feel like I didn't get hit
the
there.
exact name of what DDT actually is.
All I'm telling you is that Diamond Dallas Page is due a payday from this game.
Okay.
Wait, Diamond Dallas Page, you mean?
No, dixlorodyphenyltrilofane. I said that wrong.
It's Bug Killer.
Yeah, but it's known because it's like public health issues for using it. It's very bad.
It ain't good.
Look, every
So
morning
it's
I
really
wake
funny.
up, I put on my asbestos bib, and I drink a bowl of DDT, and I'm just fine.
Those little fellas were bullshit. The ones that were just like, I'm just gonna go basically straight down.
Yeah.
No obstacles in my way. I just feel like going left one and then down.
Welcome to Centipede and/or Millipede.
I don't know if it would have been. I don't know what's worse, that they bundled Centipede and Millipede together as just like one thing, or if they had split it between two things. Like
Worse
this
to
is,
split it.
Yeah.
At least with this, you know what you're getting. At least you know that you're getting like effectively the same game twice. Let's not mince words here. Very iterative update between these two. But you know, it's the same reason why Galaga and Galaxian get bundled together. It's also like a good bit of perspective to be able to play the old and the new as they were in their era. And to see that there is, like, you know, there's sometimes nuance between those types of games, between similar playing games.
I was able to pick out which one was which. Like, more easily than I thought I would have. I kind of didn't remember, like, oh yeah, there is one real big difference between the two of them.
I hate
yeah,
the
Magic
soundscape.
Meows.
Can I just say, low-key, I
Yeah.
hate the soundscape in this game. It feels like bugs crawling on my skin.
Hey, you know what?
Yeah.
You're immersed.
Yeah.
Bees.
Not the bees! No! Magic Mouse in chat asks if you shoot the DDT, does Jake the Snake appear?
Someone else owed a payday. This seems...
The effect doesn't it? Oh, fuck. I was...
Yeah,
I was
he
on the
comes
left
in
side
and
of the
says,
screen.
he says, you got Centipede? I got Millipede. You got Asteroids? I got 2 of those too.
Didn't mean to shoot that one. Oh, well. Yeah, those, like, real aggressive ones.
What
No, I
is
guess they
this
turn unaggressive after a while.
What is this? It's fucking chocolate?
I know I've been kind of sucking it up here, because I'm not paying that much attention.
Oh, who cares?
But this seems like a particularly easy version.
Yeah, the bugs are moving
now
a
we're
lot
getting to the
slower.
proper millipedes. The long ones, the snaky
Yeah.
ones.
When they break up though, yeah. Still some, because the smaller playing field, it makes sense to make them smaller.
What killed me?
What didn't? There was like 3 things swarming in on you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like I didn't see any of them hit me. I feel like that's the only thing that's really kind of annoyed me with this, is that there have been times where I'm like, oh, I'm not going to get hit by this thing. It's just going to walk past me. And that's still enough to kill me.
I think they probably have pretty wide hit boxes. You have a wider
Hitboxes,
hurt
yeah.
box then, yeah.
Which I think is exactly what's happening. Oh,
I'm trying to
that's
figure out
not
the letters in the bottom, if that's supposed to be passwords or something.
What?
The flash. Above the high score, when
Yeah,
you,
like I
advance
noticed
a
them too.
level.
Oh, like the L0, L, yeah.
Yeah, I saw one that looked like it said lube.
They're definitely not passwords.
spelled
There's no
wrong.
password entry for this. This is run-based in the way that arcade
maybe it's
games
an
were.
ARG.
I would assume it's just an indicator of what level you're at, how
Oh,
many
level
stages you
12.
have
Yes.
cleared.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense.
Because they, you know, didn't have space screen real estate to put that graphic in when they wanted the playfield to be as big as possible.
I wanted to get that DDT. Fuck.
Still have 4 lives left, so maybe just forfeit it back, run it back, AB select start, see if that does anything
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, that's the reset I should have said.
All right. So.
Oh, nope, you're still in Millipede
Wait.
somehow.
Oh yeah, we are.
Oh, I guess do it again.
Okay, yeah, do it again. All right, so Centipede this time.
Yes.
Any options on this one?
Oh,
intro
going
music.
extra with the music, yeah.
Oh, man. That's a jam. There's no
Two-player
credits for
alternate.
these.
Two-player compete. Two-player team.
Huh.
Maybe
And
this one
then-
did have link cable support then.
Yeah, look it up for me, Johnny, if you don't mind. I would, but...
Let's
Novice,
see.
standard, advanced, and expert. Let's just do standard. How about that?
So it's definitely the more primitive of the two games, being the older one.
Yeah. Oh, the controls feel worse.
Yeah, it looks slower.
Slower, but also like really slippery in a way, in a weird way. Like there's a little bit of momentum to your ship. Like it'll pick up speed after a while, and then if you stop moving, there's like just a moment of it still going on its
Like
own.
an acceleration almost.
Yeah. It's weird that this was listed under Millipede. Like this is the second one.
They wanted to lead with their strong one, their best foot forward. I feel.
Yep.
Though this does have all the
has,
multiplayer modes.
Yeah. This is the video I found that confirmed the link play mode, and I just find it really funny.
Simultaneous co-op in this.
Yeah. I'll put that in the Discord as well.
That might be something.
Later.
Since my eyes were closed, did Millipede not have that option?
No.
No.
It had a 2-player mode, but I assume that was just handing it back and forth.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Zach Schoolsnake G, for your info on the link cable.
This is way worse than Millipede.
You made it through 16 levels so far. That can't be right. I think you started at level 10 because you started at standard difficulty.
Yes.
It's also less generous
It's
with
so
the 1-up,
weird.
so...
That, considering what this is, that these aren't ports, you know, these are just like versions made for Game Boy, I wouldn't have expected them to control differently.
I wonder if you go through the credits that they were made by two
this-
different teams. Or,
Would you
know,
like to see that?
I think they're just trying with this one to replicate the feel of playing an older game and making it maybe like arbitrarily control a little wonkier, a little make the game run a little slower, trying to like tweak the controls just to make it feel like a more distinct experience.
Yeah, they're both
it is
fairly easy. Like
It is funny the order they are in the game, because, yeah, Centipede's the
Yeah.
original, and Millipede's the follow-up.
I do think that's just a matter of lead with the newer game first, the more exciting one, so that if you just press start and like jump into the game, if you're just blindly doing it, they presumed people would want to play that one over this one.
I don't know, like they're both not particularly hard or anything like that, but I would so rather be playing Millipede.
Yeah, and there's more to it, for one thing.
Yeah.
It looks like it feels better to play.
I think that might do it for that, because that's gonna just happen forever.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. I think that will do it for,
Yeah.
I do like this
unless
song,
you want to do link cable multiplayer.
Yeah,
Kind of want to, if only to see if it like slows down the game any.
all right, give it a try.
I intend to try. Bear with me here a second, folks. This is unprecedented. Making a live call, and we'll also show off a different color scheme in this game while we're at it. Because I think these are the actual Super Game Boy colors.
Yeah.
Oh, we gotta use all the colors.
Yeah.
Oh,
Even as a
pretty
fancy
Gale-sided
border.
for some Millipede Centipede.
So I'm using BGB for this, a Game Boy emulator, in case you couldn't guess. But this one has link cable support. So this would be what? Arcade Classic, I'd have it under A. Except name... Oh, Windows 11, you're killing me.
I did see it.
Yeah, but it's not in alphabetical order, so it's driving
It's
me
not,
nuts.
no.
Yep. Even though I told it to
There you
sort
go.
by name. People don't need to know about this. This should hopefully just work. Right? You would hope that this would just work.
Yeah.
Who's player
Actually,
one? Who's player?
I don't remember. Did the Super Game Boy Cart thing let you do like link cable just on the Super Nintendo? With, like, two
We'll find
controllers? I
out.
don't remember.
Give me some inputs. Try pressing A and B to cycle on your screen. We do have a second window up that is playing this like a traditional Game Boy. Anything?
I don't have.
Johnny, you
Yeah,
try.
same here. Yep.
Okay, we'll look at the controls real quick. I don't want to spend too much time solving for this, but anyone holding right on their oh, someone press
no.
right. Who's doing
That
it?
was Johnny.
Yep, so
Yep, this
Johnny,
is
you'll
me.
be joining me, hopefully, for a thrilling round of Centipede.
There you go.
Okay, hopefully I didn't fuck anything up there. I'm controlling for both of us. God damn it. Well, you know what? I'm just gonna fake it till I make it.
Oh, that's cute. Look at this trackball you don't get to use.
Yeah. Unless you get the trackball add-on for your Game Boy. Just
that would've
like
been
shove it right in there.
I can tell the Game Boy on the right's ahead of the Game Boy on the left, which is a problem. One controller.
There you go.
Oh, this would be like they're using Super Game Boy to recognize whether you had more than one controller plugged into your SNES.
Oh, that's really cool.
Huh.
So that's really going to
you go.
overcomplicate this, unfortunately. It's going to make it to where I absolutely can't do this because I would need to reset everything I just did. But hey, that's neat. That's interesting to see at the very least.
Well, we learned something out of the whole ordeal.
Sure. We'll just move along to Arcade Classic 3 Galaga and/or Galaxian, which I'll play this because I am a lover and appreciator of
Now, I
Galaga
always forget the
Galaxian.
difference between the two of these.
Galaxian's the old one, Galaga's the new one. Galaxian moves way
I would
slower.
have got that wrong.
Galaga moves way faster.
Yeah, I would have got that wrong. I thought Galaga was first.
And Galaga has it so you can have two ships firing at the same time. Galaxian does
Right.
not. You know,
Galaga has the ship capture mechanic, right?
I
Start
do,
with Galaxian then.
yeah, I want to see this in like the 4-color or whatever this approximation of whatever is, and then I kind of want to go into color mode because I feel like I'm almost getting the feeling now these were developed with the Super Game Boy in mind. A peripheral that I have just no idea what the use case was for. Why, if you are a Game Boy owner, you would be playing your games on the TV. Just play them on your Game Boy. You got it.
Well, maybe you didn't have any batteries.
That is a point. If you don't want to waste your batteries,
Yeah.
like if you're like,
And
I want to play this, but also I'm going to go on a car trip at some point in
Yeah.
the future.
No, I will say that multiplayer stuff is probably the big addition of, hey, I can play this 2-player without having to own multiple cards
Oh,
and
brutal.
consoles.
Also, someone keeps ringing me on the phone in this game.
So I'm looking at this. I want to look up a video of this being played like in the standard Game Boy, color palette, and there it is a white background for space and not black like here.
Yeah, let me see what we're cooking here. Internal palette, Game Boy Pocket. That's not right. Let's turn off Game Boy colorization.
There we go.
Oh,
That's
there
more
we go.
accurate.
I mean, it's accurate to a Game Boy Pocket, I suppose, which was in grayscale monochrome. I prefer the green tint over stuff.
Yeah.
For emulation in particular, it's softer on the eyes, the green and yellow.
I mentioned it earlier in one of the other things, but for the way that the Game Boy dot matrix screen worked, if you had a game that took place in space, or something that you would expect there to be a black background, you actually would not want there to be a black background, because the way that it updates the image on there, if it's all black and you're updating a white image like over a long space repeatedly and fast, it leaves this really noticeable ghosting effect that makes it hard to determine what you're doing. By doing this, it's way more readable.
Man, I really want I really want different colors because
There we go.
there we go. So it would be like on an actual Game Boy. Close enough. Approximation of.
I feel like you would need to be standing with the surface of the sun directly behind you
To
get
really
this amount
see
of clarity.
this. Yeah.
Yeah.
God, it is funny thinking back how long it took for a Game Boy console to have a backlight, and it still was so popular.
And,
Is that my
Lynx
last life?
was
Yeah.
Lynx was concurrent with the original Game Boy. It blew it out of the water in terms of like graphics and screen and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
no, Game Boy had it.
Namco Arcade Classics.
Game Gear was backlit.
You know what? There's a specific color palette I really wanted to show. Give me just a second here to. This is what I want. This is what I was looking for. I'm glad I have it now. This is like a very nice neutral palette. This is my preferred way to play Game Boy games. I definitely don't like messing with the colors. The only ones I mess with, there was a Game Boy Color palette that was like orange and blue that looked really nice. That if I messed with like Game Boy games on Game Boy Color, that's the one I went with.
Wait, hold up.
Yeah?
Game Gear was backlit, right?
Game Gear?
Yeah.
No, right?
No?
No, I've never held a Game Gear, so I don't know.
I have, but I just can't remember. I don't love the old hardware. I don't care to memorize every facet of it, you know, so I'm definitely a weak spot.
I'm pretty sure it has a backlight. Because I had one. I had two, in fact.
Look at Galaga here. Look how it's different from Galaxian.
Yeah.
That it moves faster. You have these sequences at the top. So it's a little less just derivative of Space Invaders. You know, the strategy, you know, you take out these things at the top, but then you're denying yourself scoring opportunities to do that. All right. Tractor beam, baby.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
You deliberately do that as early as possible.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I like Galaga, but I don't know that much about it.
And now,
Oh, hell yeah.
and this is the move. This is the way to play. Unless you fuck up like that.
Yeah.
I'd say this Galaxian played well enough. It played surprisingly well for its era, for being on the Game Boy. I'd say this is also pretty good for what it's worth. You know, I kind of missed the scrolling Starfield, but
yeah, I will say I do think it runs smoother than the Code Monkey's attempts. Maybe these are more simple in some ways, but just like the way the enemies fly in and all that.
Right?
No, at this point it's internal team at Namco for this, as I'm to understand. It's definitely not the Code Monkey, I can tell you that much. Yeah, I'm still going to risk my life because I know the bonus stage, the challenging stage, is coming up. Oh, you know what? Cheat. Let me cheat a little bit. No,
whoops,
you can do that. And also, I'll show off one more thing because I'm fucking up. If you shoot them in the back row while they have your ship, then your ship, your allied ship, becomes an enemy ship you have to deal with. So there are a lot of mechanics tied to that, which are pretty neat. Yep, and I fucked up.
Nope.
Oh my god. I told myself internally I wouldn't abuse rewind tonight, but so that'll be the end of that.
Yeah, you're showcasing stuff, so
And he really does not want to come after you. Okay.
Beautiful.
challenging stage. Yeah.
Yep.
We were talking about like the PlayStation 1 era of arcade game revival.
Fuck.
But there's another era of that, which is following in the wake of Pac-Man Championship Edition, where like everyone was like, we need the new sleek versions of these games again.
Yeah.
So I think there was the Galaga Legends. Is that what it was called?
That sounds right, yeah.
You tell me. I just remember playing a shit ton of Galaga on the Namco Museum on Game Boy Advance. You know, as long as I got 2 ships, death to everything. I don't care about score. I just want to get that stage counter up. So I totally am cool to delete all these at the top.
Finally made it.
I think one of the oh, thank you for the raid, Jokey Real. We're just playing some Galaga as you remember it. What was I saying though? I think arcade I used to go to as a kid had a Galaga Miss Pac-Man machine. I played a lot.
Yes.
Which I have a feeling that specifically the Galaga Miss Pac-Man machine itself is one of the most like common items on the face of the earth.
I've seen jokes about Shinji Mikami, who I don't know if he knows or not, but one of the first games I in was Goof Troop, and that's also an inside joke here. So it's but hello Raiders, welcome Raiders. Give them a shout out, come on.
Sure. And Joe Pete Real also says that the Great Circus Mystery is not made by Shinji Mikami, but is also a great time.
let me see Super Game Boy if this will actually... Will this give us... Oh, it's giving us that orange and blue. I was kind of hoping to get Super Game Boy colors on this.
Do you have to restart though? Oh, that's just colorization. You might have to go to
I think I
Core.
don't need to do internal palette. I think I want to do emulated hardware, a GBA unlocks extra features. I'll do auto. You know, I could just, you know what I could do? I could load this up in
Launch
the other
that.
emulator.
I was about to say, the other one seemed
Oh.
to launch right into it.
Yeah.
Yep. Even that is partially against my will. It'll come in handy for this. So let's check it out. And ooh.
It's a bit unrelated to this, but we were talking about the emulation stuff, and sorry, and I died apparently. No, I was thinking of the weirdness around the Pokemon Stadium games and their Game Boy player that seems to be like emulating a Game Boy and Game Boy Color stuff, and I can even do Super Game Boy stuff. People have like hacked it to do it.
Yeah,
And
close
how that
approximations of the
technology
original
works.
colors here.
Yeah.
Do these turn green when I shoot them? If it'll let me shoot them? Red. Okay, so that's not accurate. But I mean, they're doing what they can with the limited capacity on the Game Boy Color to store like color data on the Game Boy to store color data for the SGB palette. You know, this would be an almost nice way. I mean, I could do without all the bezel bullshit. Personally, I find that stuff to be tacky.
So I don't think that you have this on the list. But there's that Space Invaders Game Boy Color game.
Yeah, it's not a compilation, so it somehow doesn't meet our
Right.
criteria for tonight.
So there was that, and I've mentioned before, I think I've talked about this game before, that if you plugged it into a Super Game Boy and you played it, you could also then unlock a Super Nintendo version of Space Invaders. It was just sitting on the Game Boy cart, and it would launch into basically a new executable that was straight up a Super Nintendo game in this Game Boy thing, playing through your Super Game Boy. And I'm wondering how many other games, if any other games, did that on Game Boy, where they just had an SNES ROM in the Game Boy cart in case you had a Super Game Boy.
Probably a couple, but probably not a lot, because that's a functionality that, you know, takes time and money to build, and for such like a limited number of players would even know it existed or have a means to access it. So
Right. That, I mean,
Ow.
the thing is, like, if it happened once, I'm thinking, like, did anyone else ever do that?
Yeah.
Because that's a cool thing, but I'm surprised it happened the first time.
I always just think of this is tangential. It's similar. Is Conker's Pocket Tales for the Game Boy Color, that if you put into a Game Boy, rather than just saying like this is not made for the Game Boy, this is made for the Game Boy Color, it has a bespoke version of the game with like changed gameplay and maps slightly, but it is made to like accommodate being in monochrome.
Am I wrong? Did Perfect Dark Game Boy also do that?
No, it would not let you play that on a Game Boy at all.
Okay, I
because
swear
it's
there's
too
a
advanced.
couple of carts that did that. I don't know if they were all by Rare or not. It's not many, but like a handful of games that worked on both.
I think it would have been funny if every time Rare...
Like that way, I
Just
mean,
started-
'cause, you know.
I think it would be funny if Rare, every time they developed on a Nintendo console after the Super Nintendo, like, kept finding new ways to make RAM leak and having to make Nintendo release a new expansion pack thing. Like, how did you fuck up the Game Boy this bad? Okay, fine, we'll make an expansion pack thing. Shit.
You see, I triggered a secret enemy there, by the way, which is something you can do if you meet certain parameters. I don't remember what. But, you know, I could also play Galaga all day long because I do like Galaga a lot. I like fixed shooters more than I like more advanced shmups. This is about the level of complexity I can deal with and not bullet hell. That is beyond me.
Yeah.
This is... Okay. This is interesting. Maybe not entirely related to what I was saying, but in the spirit. Pepperly says, there's an old non-color version of Panel de Pawn with lips intact if you crash Pokemon Puzzle Challenge in a specific way.
Yeah, I watched a video about it recently, yeah.
Well, we're going to move on to our next collection, the last of the Game Boy Nintendo authorized collections, which is Defender, Joust. 2 games that I could not give less of a fuck about, if I'm being honest. Joust is at least like more interesting to me. I never got Defender. I never got into Defender.
Okay, I would have been the opposite. I would have preferred Defender over Joust.
And let's just do this on BGB with the Super Game Boy. Let's just get this going on. Ooh, that's the wrong size for the Nintendo logo.
Though, we've been talking about it recently. I would probably just play Resogun if I was going to play a Defender-style game.
Who wants to play this, by the way?
I think Johnny's already set up for it.
Yeah.
Are you? Let's do it real quick, just one more time for me, just to. Yep, we're just binding controls behind the scenes, folks. Hopefully, this just works.
There we go. Ah, look at that! They got real cute with it.
Yeah, this is very much inspired by the Williams Arcade Classics.
I hope
you don't have control, do you? Oh boy, yeah, this BGB thing does some neat stuff, but it's another one of those emulators that just does not give a fuck about binding for multiple players. It's the only one that handles netplay decently, but
I hope that you don't go to another screen to play these games. You're still here looking at this arcade machine inside of this other arcade machine Pebble, and playing that.
Oh, okay. Smooth. But yeah, if you get into, had
to come in real quick and switch out the stickers.
If you get into the Williams Arcade collections, they do the style of cycling through cabinets, is where that comes from.
Yeah. Oh, look at that.
And so because they're the ones who are individually authoring this, who are ooh,
interesting,
cool. Keep it on normal, yeah. So they're trying to maintain the house style, even though this is Nintendo's line of arcade releases. Drop the volume just a little bit.
I will say straight up, first impression, map's kind of hard to read on this version.
Yeah. Oh.
I think I'm getting the feeling this is going to be the first one that really isn't built for the Game Boy, that really loses something in the translation, that moves maybe a little bit too quick, that does not fit the screen, that this is... Yeah.
This is quite a hard version to play. Because they've tried to match the... Because, Defender moves. Come on.
Surprising they had the music off by default. I guess not surprising, it's more accurate. But this Defender did not come with soundtrack.
There's a lot of buttons on that cabinet.
There we go.
Oh. Well, actually, now that I think about it, I don't think I've ever seen a Defender cabinet in the wild, so I don't know what its actual layout is.
Yeah, so that joystick on the left is only up-down.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. Now, when I started paying attention to it, after I said there's a lot of buttons, I was like, that joystick doesn't look like it goes every way.
Yeah, I fucking hate controlling this game in the arcades. I don't want too many buttons. I don't want a limited joystick. I get what they're going for, but not for me. The gameplay loop's really not for me in Defender either.
I do like they've tried to replicate the explosion effect where it would it would erase lines in the rendering.
You can tell the people who converted this wanted to do this game justice, wanted to
sick.
Oh, beautiful. But yeah, it's maybe
those alien bastards are gonna kill me. No.
Yeah, maybe too accurate to how it would actually. Oh yeah, gotta put your name in. How do I do it?
Probably up and down to cycle through the letters.
Yeah. Weirdly, this is an unresponsive menu.
It does it per flicker of the screen, it seems.
Why did it?
Good enough.
There we go.
A bag
and extra space.
Extra space.
What settings were there for this? Let's see the inverted
lives,
colors again.
difficulty, colors,
Yep. Normal hard.
rapid fire.
Let's
Maybe
just
put
see
it on
how
easy.
it
Maybe put
is.
rapid fire on and do the inverted colors. Yeah. And I can imagine this just in monochrome. And I can imagine the streaking. Oh my god, this is hideous.
Yeah.
It is straight up inverted colors in every sense of the word.
Probably actually looks better on a proper Game Boy.
Yes, this would probably work better on the actual Game Boy for what it's worth. Though I wonder if these options even exist in the Game Boy version. We saw with the other Super Game Boy mode for the previous release that had different settings.
I can imagine inverse color could exist. I have seen much older Game Boy games in this offer like inverse color for space games.
I guess that's what Easy does. Even if you play bad, you just win.
Defender 2's the one that had like the hyper gates and all that.
Yeah.
Right.
Where they way overcomplicated it. For my taste.
I wonder if the game over screen is going to be inverted.
Only one way to find out.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so hard to stop yourself, and when you realize you're. Yeah.
The speed and momentum of Defender have never sat right with me. It moves too fast for what it is.
Especially for Game Boy, though.
Yeah. I understand. I appreciate there's a nuance. I appreciate there's a mastery over these mechanics that people have gotten good at Defender. But I kind of just don't like... I really just don't like many of the Williams arcade classics as they're denoted. I just don't think I enjoy very many of them. I don't like Robotron. Paperboy was them, right?
Robotron.
Paperboy is a Williams arcade classic.
Sorry, bud.
I don't know, but we got to say something nice about this one.
Oh.
I don't think Paperboy is, for what it's worth. And say something nice.
Yeah, Paperboy's Atari. Okay, that's.
I mean, this game over screen. Because it's hard to say. Like, yeah, it feels like they were trying to really make it arcade accurate in terms of the game feel, but I think that's a negative in this case.
Yeah, maybe. Go to Joust.
Yeah. Let's see.
I wonder if Joust will have its iconic soundtrack as an option.
That off-brand Nintendo logo is doing it for me right now.
I keep looking to see if it's misspelled.
There we go.
Come on down to my arcade. 2 whole cabinets, Joust and Defender. You have to wait in line.
Movie theater.
Yeah.
I had there was a 2-cabinet arcade at the Pizza Hut that I used to go to as a kid, but it was a sick 2-cabinet arcade because it was Tekken and Darkstalkers.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I think at some point they replaced Darkstalkers with fucking that Dungeons and Dragons beat 'em up game. It was also ruled. Anyway, what you got?
Okay, so
what was the game
and we
option?
Yeah, we'll have to look. We got normal and updated.
Okay, we're doing that again. Did you turn rapid flap on? I hope you did.
Instructions for birds.
Oh, no.
Hell, then good fucking luck.
Yeah.
I like me a Joust.
I don't love Joust. I love Balloon Fight.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that. It's like, what's your thoughts on Balloon Fight?
I think Balloon Fight's fucking great. It's not that I hate this. I just, I'd rather play Balloon Fights. I think it is just like, the amount of platforms. Like the fact I'm always bonking my head and making mistakes in this. I've gotten far enough in Joust. Jesus, Johnny. Is it that bad to play? Or is it just a failing on your part?
I think that time I'll say that's a failing. It does move though again, much like arcade Joust.
There's a chaotic element to Joust I really like, which is part of that whole bumping your head thing a lot. It feels more
there we go.
Flying by the seat of your pants, hectic than a balloon fight is.
Johnny.
you have more momentum than I was expecting. I always forget about Joust.
Yeah, Joust is a very slippery game.
Yeah. I don't know if this is game accurate, but you actually don't have to mash the button that much to flap.
It's actually so the way this is, I guess by nature of it being a Game Boy game, I feel like it's a little hard to tell which one you are.
Oh
You
yeah,
don't stand
that's
out as
absolutely.
much.
Like
It's
once
weird.
you lock
It
onto
is.
it, it's easier. But
Yeah. But like
I
at
don't
the
know
start
why.
of this round, I had no idea which one was Johnny. I thought Johnny
Yeah.
went straight into the lava.
No, you're right,
that was
Sharky.
last
For some
life.
reason, I'm just discerning it. But you're right. It's. Ooh.
But yeah, no, Cass is right. Like once you lock onto who you are, it's easier to tell.
Yeah.
But I could
It must
also
just
see a
be-
situation.
It
I
might
can
be
see
the
a situation
blinking
like
you do at the
classic
start.
Joust stuff,
There we go.
where like you get stuck between two people and you start ping ponging back and forth. If that happens, you might be able to give a thumbs up. Do the thumbs up instead. Come on, pop the crowd.
and Williams let you enter way more letters.
Oh, I guess they expect you to put a bunch of spaces first.
I mean,
I
who's
guess
the
so.
fool here? Yeah. Yeah,
let's see
show
what
us
this
those updated
update
graphics.
And what's with those
Is it-
piles
well-
of dirt on top of like the cabinet there? You see, like where the buttons are, they just someone piled up dirt.
You didn't change the
well.
game. Yep.
There we go. Bloom, bloom.
Pigpen was playing on this cabinet last. He left streaks on it.
Updated just gives everyone a gun. Joust for the modern era. Has anyone ever done Joust for the modern era?
Oh,
I mean, besides Resogun, not Resogun, that's the Defender. But I mean, has anyone ever tried to like say this is the new Joust?
There have been
Besides
games that are
Joust
very
2.
similar to it. There's one I played in an arcade, at a barcade, that was like made like recently, and it was like an indie game, and it was like 16 player or something. It was like 10 player actually, 5 on each side. So there's been attempts to harken back to this style of gameplay.
Well,
this is very different, by
not-
the way. Forget this conversation. Look
Yes.
at this,
Yeah,
Johnny.
it's open world.
yeah.
Oh, there's a guy on the
Dude.
bridge to your left, or I guess if you loop around, you'll get back to them.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Now we have the
No,
defender
now he's
radar.
gone.
this gives you more screen real estate to work with.
Okay,
To
anyway,
be
the
correct, it was
question I
Killer
was
Queen that
asking-
I was thinking of. Magic Meow says Nidhogg is a similar
Oh.
one.
Nidhogg's not at all like
No, it's
Joust.
jousting. Yeah.
No, what I was saying was not necessarily like a game in the spirit of Joust. I mean, we've mentioned several times about how like they've tried to bring back the brands, is like saying, but new and improved Pong, the new Pong, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Did they ever
Joust
try that?
No,
next?
they haven't. They have not. No.
Yeah.
To answer your question, yep.
Yeah, that was the question I was asking.
Yeah, no, Midway, Williams, Warner.
They came out with the Joust 2, but that failed in the market. That was like relatively soon after Joust.
Right, right.
Yeah, they seem mostly fine with just, we'll just do a compilation game every so often. There we go. Give me your egg.
They should have added like balloon trip mode to this.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. My preferred Joust facsimile would be Balloon Trip.
I'm Headful says not related to Joust, but I just now remembered that PS2 Defender that showed up on
Yeah.
Games from a Hat. Yeah, that was like the end of the that wave of let's bring back the old arcade games but make them new.
Well, not quite.
Like it was that in like Area 51 were kind of like the last gasps of it.
No, there's one more. Starring a certain.
A Spy Hunter.
Yeah, you go.
Again,
Certain
that's
Solid
all
Man,
of the
the
same.
Spy Hunter.
That's all of the same era though. That's all.
Well,
like,
there was. Funny enough, there are 3 Spy Hunter games
Play
on
the
PlayStation
game.
2. I don't. I kind of don't want to play more Joust.
You're not loving this?
Nope.
Okay, I'll tell you what. I want to give this a quick
And
shot.
this-
I want to give this a quick
yeah.
shot on the original Game Boy in monochrome just to see. I know we've
Yeah,
been
yeah.
wildly inconsistent about this,
I'll
but
say
I
about
don't care.
that quote updated mode. Also, just I think it's running worse, so it just felt even weirder to control.
oh,
At least,
If you're
at least they
going
had the turbo
into-
flap.
if you're going into this on original Game Boy, just go to the Defender real quick and see if the inverse option is there.
I
You were
intend to,
saying
yeah.
I would. Yeah, you're saying you're wondering how many options are
Mhm.
between the two.
First, I'm going to do Joust. Different title screen.
Oh, wow.
Right, you got your rapid flap.
Yep. Yeah, so rapid flap is on B specifically. If you want to do tap still, you can use A.
Okay. Oh, yep. Mm. Yeah,
Yep.
that's the Joust I remember. Again, there's just not enough headroom for my liking.
We're also dealing with a resolution difference now.
Yeah. Why are these ostriches so slippery? Give them shoes or something. Actually, maybe the shoes is the problem.
Oh. I thought
Yeah,
I had
maybe they're
enough.
wearing those little dog booties, like when it's cold out, and they're trying to do that thing where they try to kick it off and they're sliding around.
I was thinking of kitten mittens.
Same difference.
Yeah.
It really is just so slippery.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of what I like about it, is that it's slippery and imprecise. You have to deal with it.
I mean, like, in a versus sense, I'd be fine with it, because you're on the even playing fields, but when it's just endless, you know, against arcade
And look at those
like
frames drop.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
All right.
Like I said, yeah, this version runs slower, so it was just... And yeah, I don't think making it like a big scrolling arena really adds to it that much.
It's a different perspective on it. Like, you know, like when conversions of Pac-Man came to different consoles, and they would have your modes for scrolling as you play it, or they would just shrink the graphics down so you could see everything all at once, and that was, like, you know, a matter of personal choice.
Oh,
brutal.
The hand got you. Like, okay, if this wasn't on the Game Boy, so you could do these bigger arenas without the screen scrolling, I think that would be interesting, especially from a versus capacity. But honestly, just having it where you just loot, I preferred, honestly.
Let's reset this.
Yep.
See our options for Defender.
Oh, right, and there, it's the proper Nintendo logo as well. Just the one with the round bit around it.
Yeah, it does have color invert. So yeah, you could play it in a way that wouldn't actually look that good.
Yeah, but I imagine it's also a power save option in a way, right? It's that and the deal with lighting, backlight, lack of backlight, and all that.
Someone in chat did say that having it be like all black background like this, it was a drain on battery.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm surprised that this is the default. That inverse wouldn't be the default.
Inverse was the default.
Inverse was the default? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think what it is, because on Super Game Boy, it's not the default.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I thought it might have saved in between. We're using different emulators. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Different emulators, yeah.
I was thinking about it in physical terms, like we're taking the same card and putting it like, no, that's not how we're doing this.
I think this may be the weakest collection we've played so far.
Honestly, yeah.
I think it's the games are just a little too complex, and there's just not enough screen real estate.
Yeah, they should have done more to adjust it for the hardware.
This is more of a bit off more than you could chew kind of collection.
Because, I mean, thinking about it recently with, like, older reviews, this is one where if you were reviewing it just on the sense of how arcade accurate it is, and its graphics and sound, it would probably score high, as opposed to if it's actually playable or not.
Here we go.
And yeah, it's a shame they couldn't figure out a way. Like, all you had to do, I think, for the radar was just change the pixel shapes a little bit. For, like,
I mean, they're already working with a grand total of, like, are those single pixels for each of the?
Well, no.
Yeah, no, those are 4 pixel clusters.
Yeah.
2x2s, yeah. I don't know, that's still very limited space with which to work. I mean, you'd be taking, like, a notch out of it, a corner out of it, and having to distinguish based on that. And at a certain point, that's not necessarily. Because if you move up to 3 pixels, where you can start to make, like, you know, like, almost sort of primitive shapes. Oh, no, I lost everyone.
Oh, yeah, yeah, it blew up the Earth.
Those maniacs, they blew it up.
My right ear's having a lot of fun right now.
Oh, they just home in on you. No time to react. Oh, Jesus wept.
Yeah, yeah.
I guess there's nothing left to fight for. Yeah, it's basically just like, there's no way to do anything about that. They just want you done with the game at that point. We do get this guy, though. We get this guy back. CH on the right-hand side. I guess that's the artist. That's an artist credit he put his signature on.
Nice, nice.
And that will do it for Defender and Joust, the arcade classic number 4. Interesting. Interesting assembly of games there that Nintendo commissioned and put out. So, we're going to move on. That's what Nintendo was doing. What was Sega doing? Well, Sega put out their own arcade classics across the Game Gear and Genesis in 1996. These were commissioned, developed by one Al Baker and Associates, and 2 releases comprising of 2 games. Actually, 2 and a half, because they include Pong as a bonus on each of these. It is not counted among the 2 primary games. It's just an add-on. It's just a bonus. I mean, so these are 3 game releases, what they really are. But is Pong just not, like, I guess they were ashamed of Pong. I think they were just ashamed of Pong at this point and didn't want to, like, pretend it was, like, the reason why you'd be buying the game, why you'd be buying the collection, which is, you know, a little sad. But, you know, I guess they're also right that people were probably pretty sick of Pong at this point, or just saw that as being, like, so primitive as to not warrant, like, being, like, a featured player on the box, dividing it into 3s or what have you. Yeah, Al Baker and Associates on behalf of Sega. I believe it's actually published. Yeah, these are published by Sega. I wonder if these are licensed. I wonder if these are going to be... I mean, they would have to be. To use the Centipede and Missile Command name, this would have had to have been signed off on by Atari at some point. Let's just see.
Hyper-legal.
Let's just get into these. Why don't we? And we'll see. I'm sure it'll spell it out for us as we get into the games. Hold on. The Amoeba Group.
Amoeba Group.
Yeah, we're starting with the Game Gear version here.
Yeah, we are.
Yep, Atari Corporation, duh. Yeah.
Ultra Pong. Ooh.
Yeah, it's
Ultra.
a more advanced version of Pong where I think it has more variations built in. I think it's just to note that it's not just Pong. You're getting, like, you know, like your quote-unquote tennis, your quote-unquote hockey. Oh, Bob has a story in chat. And also, look at this. Classic version, Sega version. This is starting to become a recurring feature now. Let's go through these classic style first while you...
All right, Bob says, so this one does have a story, although I might not have the full thing. The short version is, Sega and Atari got into a brief legal battle, and they settled. Sega made this game for their systems to settle with Atari. Atari never ended up doing anything in return.
Yeah, parses. Also, this has... I'm going to bet the same movement that you were experiencing when you played Centipede earlier in that one compilation, Sharky. Because
they're like weird momentum when you stop moving where you slide a little bit.
Yeah, what it is, they're trying to emulate a trackball. They're trying to emulate the feel of a trackball and rolling over, overshooting and whatnot. And it results in a game that feels like dog water.
Yeah. I think the audio on this might be actually pretty close to how the arcade machine sounded. Where the Code Monkeys Game Boy 1 took a bit more liberties with the audio design.
Very accurate. Beep, 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 boop, boop, boop.
This also just feels like molasses. Just, again, not pleasant in the slightest to play.
There are some games that... Some arcade games where I'm like, I wonder, like, why would you port that one? Or not port, why would you make a conversion of that one when there's the other one? Like, if you have the Centipede Millipede collection, sure, you're doing both of them. This one is just Centipede. Why not do Millipede?
Too advanced.
Like, if you...
Too much work. Easier to do this with less variety of stuff to do in the game. Like, while these may be exceedingly basic games for the era they are released in, they are still having to rebuild them from the ground up. And, you know, they're still worrying in some capacity about the capacity on the cartridge, about how many like sprite banks they can fit into it and whatnot. So go with the simpler one to redesign, the simpler one to store. Yeah, you know,
Maybe
Sharky...
the entire cart should have just been Pong.
Sharky, take over for a little bit. Tell me how this compares to the Game Gear version. I'm still in it for right now. You should be able to pick up and play.
No, I can't.
You can't? Awesome. Love it. Controls. And there we go. Try unpausing, and yeah, okay.
Oh, you know what? I think it feels a little worse.
You might be
a little
right.
worse than the Game Boy version.
It looks a little worse, just like observing it, and I think it does, in fact, play worse.
Yeah, it does have some of that slide still, but it feels like way more sluggish. Like, it feels slower, and that Game Boy version did feel really sluggish, but this feels worse.
Oh, that was a good shot, though.
I wonder what the updated version of this looks like. We'll do all the ones in a row, classic style, and then we'll come back for the updated versions. I think it's fine if you concede the game here.
Yeah. Well, game over anyway. And roll credits.
I'm going to skip those for now. I'm going to jump into... Let's do Missile Command. That's the one on the box.
Okay. You got some options.
I'm trying to change the difficulty, but it's not letting me. I guess I have to press start. Oh. Here we go. Wave speed. You can just jump ahead.
So it's just
Cruise, dumb or smart.
A lot of dip switches on this.
Fast or slow. I know what dumb missiles and smart missiles are, but how does that correspond in-game?
I assume that it's the enemy's missile.
Okay, I'm ready. Ooh.
Okay, and yeah, I'm noticing, I think you just have the one missile.
Yep, just the one
right now.
Oh, yeah, this is pathetic. Okay, I swapped. I pressed B to change my ammo stockpile, or did it just like load a new ammo stockpile?
I think it just loaded, yeah. It is fascinating to see the the different approach that this is trying to be more arcade accurate to the Game Boy ones, and that seems to be made it worse.
Does this have the weird trackball emulation feeling to it?
No, it just stops when I let go.
Okay.
It also limit how many bullets I can have on screen at the same time to like 2.
That's how the Game Boy one did it, right?
No, the Game Boy one let you have a lot more on screen, if I recall correctly. We played a lot of versions of Missile Command tonight.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, there was some real hectic screens. I wonder if the difficulty you selected is what gives you more missiles to shoot from, like points.
Because they have the spaces carved out there.
Yeah.
Let me make sure I'm not missing any controls here. Let me make sure everything is bound. Button 2, button 2. Fuck me in the face. This is... Wait, no, hold on. Button 1 start. No, okay. All right, yeah. Wait. These are Master System controls. Which I guess the Game Gear would have just had Master System controls, right? I'm not... Like, I shouldn't be missing anything here.
Yeah, they would, you know...
Game Gear had a bespoke start button.
It does, and I can do that for start like this.
Okay.
So these buttons are operating.
Yeah, otherwise it was a 2-button controller.
Yeah, this sucks. This is a bad version of Missile Command. It's just exceedingly basic, but also, like, I see the bullets coming out of me flickering, and it's a mess. the dotted lines, how primitive the fucking jet flying overhead is. Unless the updated version gives us like a serious facelift and like changes the playability, this is the worst version of Missile Command we've played tonight. By far. And also, I think the worst version of Centipede we've played tonight. Would you agree, Charky?
Mm-hmm.
I think so, yeah.
Like, you know, I can play this. I haven't conceded anything yet. But do I want to play this? No. I would really rather not be playing this. And so I won't if it'll let me restart, which it does not appear to want to let me. Okay, from the pause menu, A, B, start. All right. Ultra Pong. Pong, hockey. See, 2 and 1.
Ultra! Super, hyper, ultra!
Jesus Christ. I know where Street Fighter got their inspiration from. Regular, super, hyper, ultra. It's got to be speed, right? This has got to be the speed of the things. Barriers? Sure. No. Wait, let's just do it as bog standard as possible first.
Yes.
This is the first time we're playing Pong tonight, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No variable speed by holding down a button.
No. No, clearly your AI opponent can move at variable speeds.
Oh, I was trying to put some English on it by like dropping it the last second. Didn't pan out. Let's see if this is like classic Pong AI, where if you are in the lead, it's impossible to deal with, and it'll just like always score on you. If you get behind in points, it eventually dumbs itself down. Barring that, let's just see if I can get a single point in this. Because again, without the paddle, without the dial to dial in the movement precisely, Pong loses a fucking lot. At the very least, you gotta have the speed adjust. You have to, if you're gonna do this shit on a D-pad or joystick, you have to have the speed adjust.
It's funny as well, because they've got the buttons for it.
What you do is you have to have the Game Boy Oh, no, fuck, this is a Game Gear. Never mind, it wouldn't work. I was going to say, if this was a Game Boy thing, you could get the Game Boy camera and then have it read your hand like a Kinect.
Oh,
Move
yeah.
your hand to move the paddle.
That would have been the way.
Yeah. I mentioned earlier that the Namco... I forget if it's NEG or NEC. Like Neccon or Negcon, but the controller that twisted, you could use that for some paddle games, and also the Jog-Con.
That went right through my paddle.
Mode.
Hold on.
Oh dear. Let's see.
I'm not going to be able to recreate it precisely,
Yeah.
but if people go back,
The
that
hitbox is a little
absolutely
iffy,
went through the paddle the first time through. I want an instant replay on that, but we don't have that technology right now. But that was
nice.
Criminal. You know, if you really want to practice your positioning, I guess. I mean, you know, okay, here's one. If you have a sentimental attachment to a very specific old version of Pong, the one that they are emulating there in some capacity, maybe it's worth something. Let's try Super. Let's keep the barriers off. Let's play hockey. Good God. So as you can tell, the goal with hockey is that you can bounce it off the back walls. You get the two paddles. And the idea is to get it inside the net. So this was a common Pong variant on the Pong consoles back in the day.
It feels like when you're playing air hockey with someone and both of you try to get as close to the center as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this shit can get wild. It definitely is a more hyper mode. Did you see how many times that went through the paddles, by the way? I know it goes through behind, it's meant to go through behind the paddle in some capacity, but oh my god, yeah, no, this is not the system with this amount of screen real estate, with that speed. Let me try one more thing. Ultra, let's put barriers on. Oh, I see. So the Hyper Ultra, that's how many paddles you have on your side of the screen, maybe, possibly. But oh, this sucks. With this screen real estate, I will say that, you know, like on actual TVs on your Pong console, the better resolution is not the right word for it. but you would have more screen real estate. You would have more room to move and adjust. Making this for a tinier screen does not aid it. I swear to God, I went through the paddle again. This is repulsive.
I would like to see that taken further. If you could have like 10 paddles per side.
Hold on, let me just double check my science here.
Yes.
Okay, no, the berries are just at the top, and then and then the game style definitely determines how many paddles are on screen. But okay, Sega version. This is enough of that classic bullshit. Of course, those games don't hold up. Let's see what Sega would do.
What? You get different colors.
Yeah, this is exactly the same goddamn game.
Yeah. What fucking changed?
Actually, you know what? It's moving even worse.
Oh.
It's moving even slower from what I recall previously playing a few minutes ago.
It's flickering more, I think.
Oh my god, they made it worse. This is just objectively worse to play. I guess Sega sucks. I guess that's the takeaway from this.
Did Howard Phillips make this version? He's like, yeah, this is the Sega version.
This is rough with a capital R. Oh my.
We got to see what the other Sega modes look like.
We do. Unfortunately, we do. Oh, come on, just let me have this.
I'm Headphone Chat saying Sega did what Atari didn't.
Wait, hold on. Beginner play. So we have the options. We have beginner. So beginner is just like a dumb mode. It's just like not dumb, but you know, like you're starting. You're playing for the first time.
Yeah.
And then the normal play is what gives you the options where you can dial it in. So I get how they're doing that now. Let's try. Okay. Let's keep it on dumb missiles, but I'm going to start at a later stage. Wow, slightly improved graphics.
Yeah, we've got some shading.
And no trails.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah,
That's
no trails. And it looks like it's running slower.
I still can only fire 2 at a time.
And
right, yeah. We didn't really get into...
I'm still alive, somehow.
Yeah, we didn't really get into the mechanics of, like, missile command, but yeah, you are limited to how many shots you can have on screen from one missile shot.
But we only have the one cannon, though, is the fucking problem here, so...
Is it the difficulty select that changes how many you get?
No, that couldn't be it.
Well, it's worth trying.
Yeah, it's the only other thing I can think of.
Yeah, let's see.
Ooh.
Like, not having the trails is like...
That's what said the smart missiles.
That completely fucks it up. Also, no, that didn't change anything. So we've changed...
No. But there is... Oh, okay. There was a weird blue dot on the side of the screen
for like a second. But I can't change where I'm shooting from. There's just no way to do that. There's only so many controls. I'm just going to spend the entire time trying to figure out how to do something that you can't do, because this is a single turret game. You know what? Just let him hit me. Maybe it'll switch me over.
What's this one called again? Not Miscreant.
I've got the manual.
Arcade Classics.
Yeah.
Okay, Johnny's got the manual.
Hit me. Kill me. I guess they can't take out your singular turret. I guess that's the trade-off. Is that your turret doesn't get taken out of commission when bombs drop on it. Now, granted, I'm about to lose the city. Bonus points. Yeah, I really earned it.
You saved so much ammo.
Anything in the manual about shooting from the other stations?
Yeah, I'm gonna. No, it is just the one.
Jesus fucking wept. Why even bother?
Yet they still drew, like, the other ones on there. Like, where they're supposed to go.
Well, let's see.
Yeah.
Fucking Super Ultra Pong. Why don't we? Sega version. This is gonna kick your ass.
It's
nothing.
It's
They
not
did not
different.
make. It's not different.
Zero difference.
It's They did not even attempt.
I feel like for the Sega version, they should just replace all the sound effects with that startup Sega noise they did in some games.
This is the worst compilation so far.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is not ready for prime time in any capacity. Ooh, Al Baker and Associates. Oof. Well, you know what we get to do now? Play the Genesis version of that. Let's see if they leverage the hardware in an improved capacity. Let's see if they got more mileage out of being on a console. More animation on this title screen at the very least.
Yeah.
Bob says, you know, this thing was made to solely avoid legal troubles. It makes sense that they shat this thing right out the door.
Mm-hmm.
All right, classic version of Centipede. Let's see how arcade accurate this is. 2 alternate, 2 compete, 2 play.
Ooh.
Let's just do it, just for the fun of it, since this is an option on here. Yeah, whoever's in second slot
Yeah,
will
we'll
join me, and I'll set it to standard for starters.
It's
me.
Yeah.
I mean, it feels better than the Game Gear version, but it still doesn't feel good.
Nah, this is still a pretty subpar version of Centipede. All things told. It's fun to have the 2-player baked in, though. It's fun to have the capability for that. Just baked into having a second controller on your...
Also, something I don't think the Game Gear version did, the whole screen flashed when the palette changed, which is not great.
It's also bad color choices here.
Yeah.
Through and through.
The poopy shade.
Also, I think we share from the same pool of lives, so... Yeah, I hate the colors
I feel
on
like
this.
there's
Also,
a significant delay between when I hit the fire button and when I fire.
there's also frame rate drops when they have like a full Centipede on screen. You have like a beautiful second here where you have smooth movement, and then it's this.
Yeah. I thought that was just going to be a Game Gear issue, but I guess this version has the slowdown as well.
Yeah, so far, based on this alone, not shaping up to be a much improved version over the Game Gear version.
Remember that how Way Forward made like a version of Centipede that was like really bad?
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
I think it was on the 3DS. It was on some other stuff too.
No, I didn't get the bonus points
No,
for
I
us.
know,
I'm
I know
so
them for a
sorry.
few. Not the Rebirth one. Was it Rebirth? I know they did some stuff with Konami that was kind of, retro revival stuff, but that was more
How do I
well
restart?
liked, I think.
ABC start. Okay.
Like they did the Contra stuff.
Very normal.
Yeah, this is where we have options. I wonder.
Mm-hmm.
I fucking
No way.
wonder.
I know what you're thinking. In no way.
Yeah, no. I was hoping that it would just be like left and right turrets would finally be active because.
And
Oh come
you're gonna
on!
do-
That they're not even
if
trying. to do
any
fucking graphics.
system, the one with a 3-button controller, that would have been perfect for Missile Command.
Yeah, I'm trying the buttons and there's. Oh come on! This is dog shit. They really did not try. They really phoned this whole thing in. True to the story.
They really met the legal obligation they had to meet.
I'm out of missiles.
I feel like even the sound is worse in this version. Like they might be trying to do more advanced stuff, but it sounds worse to me than the Game Gear did.
I don't want to play any more of that.
Is it as egregious if you consider that it was made under duress.
Yes, because they could have used the opportunity. They could have taken advantage of it, despite the circumstances that led up to it happening being like less than ideal. They could have used this opportunity to say like, hey, we can, we got off on the wrong foot, but let's like put our best foot forward, make a good compilation of games, and we can be partners in the future. You take an opportunity like this as an Al Baker and Associates to actually fucking try.
Also, look, they're being fancy. The ball's round now. It's not just a square.
Ooh. That's what 16-bit will do ya. Yeah, it's more fucking Pong.
Alright, well, what's the Sega version of all these?
Let's compete.
Alright, it's gonna be one at a time,
Is
I
it?
think.
Nope.
No, it's not.
No?
Alright. Oh, now
Oh!
we have grass.
Oh, we can
What
just
is
kill
it?
each
I
other.
shoot you.
What if
Well,
you
I'm not.
couldn't see?
I'm never going up. So.
Shit. Oh, come on.
I win.
Some competition. Oh, can you read that text? Can you read that black text on a fucking green background? That's it?
That's it. I win.
What a pointless value add. What an awful addition to this.
I was not expecting it. The Game Gear version might be the better version.
Okay, we're on team play.
Dino Gem Award.
It's running worse than before.
Yeah.
It's great to have a full color background, except when the full color makes the screen harder to read.
Like, you figure some of the stuff that the fucking Contra Hardcore on this system.
Also by Al Baker and Associates.
Yeah.
That spider is green. Fuck off. That blends directly in. It's a camouflage spider, assholes. The original game did not have that.
Regardless of you're under duress, like, not only is Sega's name on this, it's like in the game. Like there's branding of Sega in this. So this comes off more as like self-sabotage if it was like...
That was also part of the agreement. What if they're like, you gotta
Yeah.
make the shit version of our games. And you gotta make the even worse version, the Sega version.
Yeah.
You gotta say, you gotta make a even shittier version, you gotta say, and this is the best we can do.
Yeah. We can get an apology,
Sega.
but we have to make you look bad. I swear those drop-in things might not have been in the Game Gear version. The things that go,
I believe they were. It was that this is a later
Really?
level thing. We're starting by
Oh,
selecting difficulty. You
okay.
start from a later stage.
Yep. No,
So we're
fair
getting
enough.
behaviors that would be seen later in the game because
Yep.
we're
No,
jumping
that's-
ahead, as it were.
Yeah.
Speaking of
Okay,
jumping
okay.
ahead, I think we've probably seen enough of this one here.
Yeah,
Oh, there was a
most
snake
certainly.
or something.
All right, how about missile command? Normal, 7. Smart crews make me dumb.
Something that's funny, by the way, in the manual, they mention if you set the control to fast, they say it makes it harder to control to hit missiles.
Don't do this. We included it as a mistake. We're sorry.
Jesus. They couldn't
we
do
got a
just a
6 skull
jet
at
plane.
least.
They're doing the skull is off-brand.
I like it.
Yeah, still a really bad version of Missile Command, as it turns out. So, worst of the night?
So far,
So far, yeah.
I don't know what we have left of anything.
There might be one, now that I think about it. One that comes to mind. Maybe 2. I know, I guess the night is still young. Oh, but I'm out of ammo. And I'm out of patience.
All right,
And
let's
just to
see.
confirm-
Sega Ultra Pong
Out of mind.
Ultra. Or not.
No. Great.
Oh!
Sound
Listen,
effects.
It was all worth it.
You only get that on the Sega version.
This is where all the storage went. That's why they couldn't
I do me a
run the
favor
games
before
well.
you're done with this. I do want to see this one in Ultra. Because I'm trying
Okay.
to imagine 3 like paddles on each side, that close together.
Let's put barriers on 2.
No, it's not. Oh yeah, it is. Oh, there's one in the back.
Yep.
What's even the point of that?
Huh?
Again, I think they could have gone farther. I think we could have had more paddles on the screen. And I think like there could have just been enough paddles so there's only like a 1 pixel
Hole that you can even
hole between each
Yeah.
thing.
Oh, this is
Louis PSC is saying what I was thinking, that you could get the paddle stuck behind the goal and just bounce it there forever.
theoretically, if you have the skills to kill. Ooh. That'll do it for Al Baker and Associates Arcade Classics on the Game Gear and Genesis. Woof. So, we'll move along. Speaking of Atari, they did something curious. They also wanted to capitalize. I'm sorry, did I say Atari? I guess this would be Atari. I mean, Battlezone, Super Breakout are both Atari games, right?
Yes.
Spoil what we're getting to next. I guess this would be more of a Black Pearl Software, who are publishers of what comes to be released as Super Breakout and Battlezone Arcade Classics. This is not part of the Nintendo line, but they're using the Arcade Classics branding. They're branding 2 games together in one. So it's called, like, official title is Arcade Classics, Battlezone, and Super Breakout. Now, bear in mind, the Nintendo series of Arcade Classics was called Arcade Classic, no S on the end. So they are making it legally distinct, but the packaging is similar enough. You know, the way they have the text, like, you know, with the curvature effects. They're doing things here to clearly try and ape the Nintendo style of compilation arcade cartridge that they had put out. They're trying to jack that swag, as it were. These would have been developed by a Solid Software, or at least one D. Scott Williamson representing Solid Software, released 1996. And yeah, 2 games in one. One of them is unfortunately Breakout, but the other one is Battlezone, which I'm excited just to have something fresh in here, something new, a wrinkle in the typical here. You know, let's launch it in BGB again, so we can get those Super Game Boy graphics, because I did notice that they were showing those.
Oh, no animals were harmed in the making of this product except for the programmers.
Ooh. I think, Johnny, you're in control, by the way.
Let me check. Hang on.
Press select.
Yep. Alright,
Yeah.
I'll give this a go.
Show us some Super
that's
Breakout.
This.
Good job.
Yep. I was trying to figure out if there was any sort of speed up button, and nope.
This looks like a nightmare. I mean, all Breakout, just basic ass Breakout without, like, you know, the
Yeah.
power, without Arkanoid. You know, which at least attempts to elevate the form somewhat beyond simple block bouncing, adding power-ups and the like. And you desperately need that shit when you're putting out versions of this type of game.
I've talked before about Cass, you and I's difference in game taste, and how I am more fine with like sort of Sisyphean games, something like a Bennett Foddy's Getting Over It, or a Baby Steps, or something that I think you fail a lot of times, but you take it as a contemplative effort. I still fucking hate Breakout. It's the most boring goddamn thing on the face of the earth.
It's the worst. And also, this version of it looks like it sucks, because the balls are hitting, like, at diagonals and getting blocks that are behind them that are not in play.
Yep, there's that. The issue I'm also having is, maybe it's predictable. I'm not 100% sure where the ball starts, but maybe that's just how Super Breakout works.
Do you have
can
speed
sometimes
adjust
hit
on the paddle?
No, I tried. Not like as far as I can tell. The face
keeps
buttons
going
don't do
through
anything.
that block.
Yeah, this is. They fucked up Breakout. Not a great look.
Okay, it does always start from the same spot.
Novin
But,
Ryder in chat says something very strange.
Yeah,
You want to take this one,
I was gonna
Sharky?
address that. So hell, I remember when NES was putting out BS like Dr. Mario, which is obviously in poorly re-sleeved Tetris. I'm strong disagree.
Yeah, it's a
on
completely
how
different puzzle game. It's a drop
yeah.
puzzle game, but it's a completely different game. It has completely different
Yeah.
mechanics.
Oh.
Is Puyo Puyo just a
Oops.
Tetris ripoff? Is it just re-sleeved
Oops.
Tetris at that point?
Oops.
Well, I like
Well,
the oops.
Oopsie
Anyway,
doodle.
strong disagree on Dr. Mario being a re-sleeved Tetris.
In the same way that we were mentioning, we were playing Joust earlier, and Balloon Fight is definitely derivative of Joust, but it is a very different game ultimately. And here's Battlezone. I mean to say, that's not a
There's
tank.
Battlezone if you
Oh,
were
enemy
blinking
to
really,
right.
really fast with alternating eyes.
I think Battlezone is neat. There's a version of Battlezone you play that I played a lot of in Goosebumps Escape from Horrorland. There's an ATM machine you go to, and as a Easter egg, they put Battlezone in there. And it is like a perfectly fine version of Battlezone. That, again, I got a weird amount of mileage out of.
I was never good at Battlezone, but I always thought it was cool.
They have to do the flashing to emulate some sort of, like, transparency, as it were.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, works pretty well though. Whoop whoop whoop. Whoop whoop. That's the sound of the Battlezone.
Whoop,
Didn't
whoop.
they try to do... Okay, on N64, was it Battlezone, or did
Drive
they
into that
do
gem.
it different? Is it Battlezone on N64, or was it a different title they went with, where it was like tanks, but like it was a post-apocalyptic world where you were
Battle
fighting over like
Tanks.
the last women?
You are
Okay,
thinking of
Battle
Battle
Tanks.
Tanks. Frappe Fiasco
This
says,
is-
Cass, did you ever play the Action RTS Hybrid Battlezone games? No, but I am familiar with the story of when Rebellion killed that community dead, because there had been a long-standing community around the PC release of that Battlezone, that game that you're mentioning, and they had like dedicated like servers or like community servers for it. And then Rebellion insisted at the entire community like rallying against them, say like, no, please, you're going to splinter our player base and kill this community dead. And so there's a Steam review for that Battlezone release by some guy who has like 20,000 hours in it, saying just like they killed this community that I was a part of, and that's tragic. There was an article written about them too.
Yeah. Is that related to like the one that originally came out in VR? Or is that different?
No, you're
version
thinking
Battlezone?
of Beachhead, I believe.
Beachhead. Beachhead.
Beachhead was the arcade game where you
put
put
a
the
Oh, no,
helmet
no.
on your head.
Okay. It'll probably show up on streams at some point. I recently got a PlayStation 4 VR headset, and Rebellion made a Battlezone for that, but that also eventually became a non-VR game. That came out in like 2016.
Okay, I found the article I was referencing, by the way. It is a PC game article titled, I tracked down the guy who gave a negative review to Battlezone 98 Redux after playing for over 8,000 hours, and he came away convinced he was right. Or
Oh, Redux. Yeah, that's a different one. Yeah. Also,
Yeah.
for some reason, I can't do anything anymore. Maybe because you clicked away. I don't know.
Yeah, you're also done. I'm going to take a stab at this on the Game Boy. But to check out that
seems pretty
article.
good,
That's
though.
a highly recommended article. You should read that. It's a
Yeah, yeah.
fascinating story about Rebellion being very bad and splintering a community.
Yeah, I do kind of want to check out that Battlezone game on PS4.
It's also a treatise on the on the value of remakes when original games still exist and so forth. So there's a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah.
interesting angles to that one.
Yeah, so select swaps. Oh, do you notice it's just called Breakout?
Yeah, nothing super about this.
Interesting. I mean, seems to be the same thing.
Yeah, this is exactly the same. And it sucks just the same.
Yeah.
And it's still doing wonky physics.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny that you can hit the ball with the side of the paddle sometimes, or even like slightly from underneath.
I mean, that's put in English on it, as they
But yeah.
say.
And going through bricks again.
But yeah, if I'm gonna play anything like this, I'll play Shatter.
If I'm going to play anything like this, I'm dead. I've been replaced by a pod person.
Oh no, you'd like Shatter, I bet.
Shatter is like the only one of these that I like.
Yeah, has Vocaloid in the soundtrack. I don't think it says like it's not starring Miku, but I'm pretty sure they used Vocaloid for like some of the songs.
Oh,
do, like,
hold on.
instruments. Oh,
Left and
Oh.
right.
oh, I didn't
Cavity.
see this.
Let me see this. I'm sure this was in
Googly
the other
eyes
version
mode.
of it. I'm sure double is like a double paddle. Progressive
Yeah.
is like, yeah, so these are different like stages.
Progressive
Let me
has
see.
good politics.
Yep. Free the
Yeah.
balls.
This, I think, is kind of in line with the home console ones where the like game select switches would have done this.
Yeah, to a certain extent.
This must have been in the other version. We just missed it.
Yeah, no,
Right?
Johnny just pressed start to get into it rather than trying
Yeah,
left
yeah.
and right.
But there was, there wasn't any text on screen that said, "Hey, you can select other games." So
I just want to free the ball so I can start playing multi-ball. And I almost want to see a second stage to see how they keep Cavity going.
Oh, they I'm gonna sneeze.
oh, I don't know about getting to a second stage.
Well, when the other balls come out, then this might pick up some sort of tempo, right?
Maybe, yeah.
You would hope.
Apparently, they released a remastered version of Shatter on Steam,
Oh,
but it has mixed reviews.
ah,
How do you get mixed reviews on?
that just means like even amount of positive and negative.
No, I know that. I mean, how do you get mixed reviews on Shatter? Like, what do you do for a remastered
Oh.
version of Shatter that you fuck it up?
In
Oh,
my experience on
oh,
Steam,
I
that's
see.
usually when an update breaks something.
No, I get what it is. This is actually a port of the mobile version,
Oh, okay.
and they call
Hey.
it remastered.
Is this ball
Oh.
gonna do anything? I guess that's a one brick. Okay, I got it behind the
That's-
stage.
That's
always
doing
good.
some fancy stuff. Yeah. Okay, that is the one thing with Breakout is when you do this, it's super fun. There we go. Oh, do you see though? Your paddles have gone real tiny.
Yep.
It's cold out.
And the point counter is just going up. And without the speed adjust, I could not save that fucking ball to save my life.
Yeah, I don't know why there's no speed adjust.
Laziness.
The A and B do nothing.
Oh, I pressed select and it just backed out. Hold on. I was so
did
close. I don't want to
Yeah.
play this. I'm not enjoying this. It was fun to see the other ones come out, but... Oh, these tiny paddles are going to be the death of me.
I was doing some testing to check. All my PlayStation 3s currently are busted in some way, and I need to get one fixed so I can play Shadow again, because that's where I own it.
Fuck.
I just reinstalled Shatter as we were talking.
I mean, I guess I could see how it emulates at this point.
Welcome to the
emulates,
best
something on
part of
Steam.
Breakout.
Oh, is there like regular Shadow on Steam as well?
Yeah, just
Oh,
Shatter
okay.
as Shatters on Steam.
Let me cheat.
Yeah.
I want to cheat this just so we can see, hopefully, the end of this. The end of all things.
Actually, they should make a sequel and call it Shadow Ass Shadow.
Okay, it's just the same stage
Bob-
ad
Yep.
infinitum. Fuck off. Okay.
Bobinator says, I like the Ricochet games, okay, but other than that, big pass from these. I don't know what you mean by the Ricochet games, because the only
you
one
mean,
I can think of is
Steam,
that, like, multiplayer.
yeah, the half gold source
Tron
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Battlezone is mostly unchanged in the difference
to left.
between Super Game Boy and regular, because, if you're just doing green anyway, if you're not doing like a fully like re-envisioned version of it with like textures on the
Yeah.
tanks and whatnot.
And bear in mind, Battlezone straight up used a translucent sheet
Yeah.
to do the coloring.
Yeah, you would put a gel on the CRT on the cabinet, and it would
Yeah.
have like
Yeah,
HUD elements and
no,
stuff.
no, I don't
to
think it was
color
on the. Didn't the cabinet have like a weird kind of like second thing you looked through?
Some had like the periscope. There's maybe like
Yes,
a
yeah.
game like that had that periscope view, but otherwise, they're doing the Space Invaders trick where if you had like, because any game that would have had that would have had a gimmick cabinet like that would have also had a stand-up cabinet variant, which is just like looking at a CRT. And so for those you could use a color gel overlay on the screen that would, for different sectors of the screen, make what would otherwise just be like white or vectors or whatever pop in a different color.
Oh yeah, here it is. Yeah, I'm gonna again put this in the Discord so people can have a little looky. The upright cabinet with all this extra stuff on it. It's a cool looking cabinet. We're talking about game room up at the top, and it wasn't for everything. But getting the Atari cabinet and getting to see, you know, oh, you get this 3D model of the cabinet you can put in. You get to see all the bezels and some of the unique shapes that the machines had.
Yeah, all the
Was one of the
unique
appeals
shapes
of
and
it.
bezels. All the unique shapes and bezels on those Atari VCS games.
Well, yeah, that's why I said it wasn't everything. Also, the Konami ones, it's all just the Japanese generic sit-down ones, which was a bit of a letdown.
Now here's a problem.
I assume
Here's the problem with this. They have the new enemy on screen here, right? And
Oh,
because
yeah,
it's always
this
sounding off, I can't tell when my shots are actually coming out or not because of that droning sound effect.
Yeah.
So it makes it much harder to play to gauge whether or not I'm in
Good
conditions.
Doppler effect on it, though.
Isn't it nice? I mean, I
Good
like
Doppler effect.
Battlezone a lot. The Doppler effect is neat, even if it is fucking with me in my ability to shoot this
Yeah.
fucking thing.
It's weirdly pleasant to listen to. No, this is quite impressive, I think. Definitely the far better game on this 2-game compilation.
Yeah, I mean, this is a acceptable version of Battlezone. You know, this flickering that we're seeing here would have been fine on a Game Boy screen, right?
Yeah,
It would
the
have been
ghosting and
the
stuff, yeah.
ghosting would have gone a long way in.
Yeah.
But
But because it's just the lines as well, it's not that rough to look at either.
and I imagine this is fairly arcade accurate. So if you are like a fan, a bona fide fan of this, then
I'm an idiot. I thought the radar at the top was a clock.
no, that's what I'm using too.
Yeah.
Ay, Johnny.
I was just like, I guess time just moves fast in this world.
All right, that is going to do it for this, though, now that I've gotten hands-on and shown off the monochrome version of it. But yeah, you know, that was half of a good compilation. That was almost something worth getting, you know?
That saves it from being worse the night, I think.
Yeah, I suppose so.
So far, yes.
Now, speaking of worst of the night. Okay. We moved to the year 1997. We mentioned the Williams Arcade Classics line and how they were bringing it to every console they could. SNES, Genesis. And then there was the Tiger Gamecom.
Oh, I know this thing. It has more games than you idiots have brain cells.
That's right. We've also only gotten written about it. One of these days we will do a full like stream console retrospective series thing on the Tiger Gamecom. But until then, you'll have to settle for a comprehensive article on the Bad Game Hall of Fame website, badgamehalloffame.com/tiger-game-com. So things to know about this. Pretty much every game released for the Tiger Gamecom was developed internally at Tiger Electronics. So this was not, you know, they got the license from Williams. They sought the license out from Williams for this, most likely, the same way they sought out licenses for all the movie tie-in games they were making, and the other licensed games, pre-existing IPs and properties that they brought to the Gamecom. And then they would task a team internally with recreating those original games or developing as good a game as they could within the confines of this piece of shit hardware that was the Tiger Gamecom. So we're going to get some version of Williams Arcade Classics, but no digital clips on this one, I tell you what.
Yeah.
Let's see how well Tiger could do. Now, we're still using the Gamecom EXE emulator / debugger, the classic, the inaccurate, but currently the best we have in terms of Tiger Gamecom
This is
emulation.
the one that was made by the actual Gamecom developers, correct?
Yes, that people would have used internally for testing and debugging and such. So
yeah, I know the sound emulation is not accurate.
No, it is certainly not.
That's one thing I know about it.
Let's do the full.
But I mean, it's not like
one.
it's not like the real hardware's that much better sounding.
You know, let me load up the test. Not the full kernel. I feel a little bit safer. This is not how it would have sounded. Everything is pitched down in this emulator.
Mm-hmm.
So the sound effects are absolutely not going to be accurate. As funny as it is to hear Gamecom active, or to play Duke Nukem 3D and be like, damn those alien bastards.
I do like that.
We're in. All right, this only controls
we
the
got
keyboard.
a lot of games on here. Okay.
This only controls the keyboard, unfortunately. So.
Yeah. Ah, yes. The non-intergalactic. Well,
You know, they're aiming for
intergalactic, but it's not in space.
60 frames per second here. You know, but
but they only hit
tough on the
12.
system.
Okay, so we have 4 games. We have Defender, Joust, Defender 2, Sinistar. Oh, we have 5. I miscounted.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say, I thought I saw more copyrights at the front.
And I'm going to say
All right, well...
that I don't know how accurately these emulates. That this ROM in particular loads up within the confines of the GameCom emulator. So we'll give it a shot.
Wait a second. Professor Gascan says, can you imagine a horror game for these graphics and presentation? Resident Evil 2.
Resident Evil 2 on the GameCom, it exists. It's almost contains every screen from the original game, while also having none of the dialogue or the ability to swap characters.
Well, it's the Leon campaign specifically.
Yes. Oh, I have to use a touchscreen to exit. There we go.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so just as hard.
You know,
I wonder in some ways if... Yeah, but I wonder if the slowdown in some ways might make this easier.
Maybe.
It does have one added benefit that because the screen's a bit different, you can see a bit more left and right.
Fuck. Okay. I'm going to try that one again.
Go for it.
Yeah.
I think the map's also a little easier to parse.
Oh, yeah.
I know what it looks like, but the map is still easier to parse, I think, than on the Game Boy version.
There's also more civilians to save.
Oh, way more. Yeah.
They die if they fall too far, right?
Yeah. Yes. No, I couldn't... It looked like you couldn't pick one up there, so maybe...
Yeah, you didn't pick it up when you were going by them.
So maybe they just took that out of this version?
No, I'm sure I could if I...
Yeah.
I have a teleport button.
Yep.
So this is more accurate. They did a better job recreating Defender for this piece of shit console. But...
in some ways.
In some ways. It's closer to the experience of playing it at the arcade. In terms of the inputs and options you have and the functionality of it. But it runs way worse and is oftentimes completely imparseable due to the nature of the graphics.
Yeah.
Joust. Yeah, that's so far so Trisha. 2-player would be alternating in this. The link cable for the GameCom, I don't believe it ever came out. If you check my article on Mortal Kombat Trilogy on the GameCom, I say for certain whether or not the link cable came out. So do me a favor, double check that real quick.
Yeah,
it's not the article on the GameCom in general. It is specifically my article on.
Okay. I'll search.
Mortal Kombat Trilogy
linked on there. Yeah.
I'll say benefit over the Game Boy version with this. Easier to tell which one yours is.
Yeah. A full screen.
Bless you.
Single screen. We don't. I mean, I guess there was the mode that enabled this in.
Yeah, there was only like the updated mode wasn't full screen because it was bigger.
Negative. Runs way worse. But I think it has more arcade accurate behavior. I believe. Like, you know, we weren't seeing the birds flying away when we killed the pilots.
Right.
In the other version. So, like,
no, okay. No, I think the link cable did come out. What it was is it was supposed to have a way to connect online via a separate thing that the link port used.
I mean, you could get online with your GameCom to check your emails and stuff and browse text-only website. You couldn't get online play with it. That was a feature that never materialized. As I'm to recall.
Yeah, it says you can link. Yeah, you can link 2 systems together.
Did I say that in my article?
Yeah.
Okay, then I trust myself.
Yeah, the bit I'm mentioning. The ultimate goal would be to eventually take your fighters online by means of a PC connecting peripheral where they could go to compete in matches against other gigafighters owners over the World Wide Web. For those without internet access, you can also link 2 physical devices. Yep. And that's, yeah, talking about this
Oh,
Giga Fighters thing as well.
lost my pilot. Now I need to wait for the ostrich to exit screen.
Yeah, because you mentioned not hearing complaints about latency when people use the link cable.
Bad version of Joust. But still better than that Game Boy version. I think, just because it is more comprehensive a conversion. Yeah. Defender 2.
Oh, yeah. I think Defender 2 get rid of the warp, and instead you have a shield.
Defender 2 added, like, the
No.
hypergates, I believe.
Oh,
We talked about
that's
that
it, yeah.
earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does change that some of the function. I think one of those was still a teleport. Oh my god. Poor showing for this game, I know, but also I hate Defenders, so. Because it moves too fast.
I mean, legit,
Even this
this
game
is
comp
probably,
version. Oh, great, cool. Love that
This is
hypergate.
probably the worst version of Defender 1 and 2 you could play.
I think I'm standing by this being better than the Game Boy versions. I think I am standing by that. Because, you know, the moving slower in this is almost to its benefit, because it gives you a little more time to consider. Oh, Jesus, I massacred them.
Just murked everyone.
Yep. Just turn them inside out.
Like, sure, it moves slow, but at times like, you can't react to anything when stuff like that happens.
I mean, that was happening in the Game Boy version, too. I think, ultimately, the handheld is not the platform to play Defender on. I think they're both bad versions, but that one was slightly less bad.
Maybe, like, different shades of the
Which one
bad.
did you pick?
Yeah.
We'll never know. It is a mystery.
I could never get into Sinistar. Like,
Neither
honestly,
could
the rules of
I.
Sinistar are a little too much.
There's too much busy work in this game. Oh,
Thank you.
no. Also, yes, we have that redeem.
I had a. If anyone didn't know what that's from
This at least has 8-way control, where the direction that you're holding, so we're past the days of asteroid and spinning in space. we can, now we can, like, you know, just pick a direction, point at it, so it does play better to me than in Asteroids.
Frappe Fiasco in chat saying the first survival horror game.
Oh, shut up. Right, so I have to mine the asteroids, right, for the, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember all the rules of play of Sinistar, honestly.
So we know this system can, quote, do digitized voices. Does this version do it for Sinistar?
It would have to, even if only just, like, run cowards.
You would have to wait, like, until they build the whole ass Sinistar, which could take a bit.
God, it controls really badly, though, just because Sinistar also controls really badly because, like, it's weirdly particular and unforgiving in the way that, you know, you have the 8 degrees of movement, or however much you would have had in arcade, but it's also like,
oh, there it is. There
work
he
in
is.
progress. There's that star.
It's almost hard to tell where you're going.
Yeah, because there's
like,
a momentum to the screen scrolling. That,
yes.
And then also,
Yeah.
it means that your ship is always off-center. So it feels like you're, like, moving around in space, even though you're not, even though it's just the camera moving.
And also, sometimes when the enemies are keeping pace with you, it feels like they're just locked into a place on the screen and not moving. I am thinking really hard if this is actually the worst game of the night or not.
I don't think it is.
I want to say no. Yeah, I want to say no. But it's still a really bad one.
Oh, yeah, it's not good. This is the bad game Hall of Fame, and it fucking hangs, baby, but...
I mean, yeah, it has more games. It's just, it's what you take, like, does the low frame rate... Is that, like, not a deal breaker for you?
I want to fight Sinistar. No! I still have one ship left.
It takes a long time to...
I mean, he's complete. I see.
All right.
You heard him.
That was him. Yeah.
I have my Cinnabombs.
Sounds delicious.
I had the same thought. It's like,
Oh, that is. Oh yeah, right. Emulator doesn't do sound correctly.
No, I would not imagine it sounds great on the real hardware from what I've heard.
The missiles are almost homing.
Hey!
They homed into the... What?
What? What language? Is this a French game? What was that about?
One yay. One
win.
yay.
I think it might be like how many lives I have left, but that was a strange way to display that information.
When you were talking about putting some... Well, there's putting some English on it. I guess there's putting some French on it.
So, hey, I did it. I defeated Sinistar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fact you could do that is probably a good sign of that this being better than
Here we
some of the
go.
others.
Which leaves us
Robotron.
with Robotron. There's no way this one is any good without the benefit of, like...
Oh, that is hauling ass.
And hey, check it out. It freezes all the enemies in place while you're moving. They couldn't handle moving your character and the enemies. I wonder if this is an emulation error. Oh,
if I
that's
saw
so
someone
cute.
moving around like that, I would probably be stunned just watching.
The game com has 4 face buttons, right? So guess what they did? They mapped each of them to one of the 4 directions.
I mean, here's the thing with like 4 to 8 direction shooting on like a modern controller, for example. I use buttons over an analog stick because I want the precision.
This is like reverse super hot. Time only moves when you don't.
You move too fucking fast because I was trying to get to that lady on the left-hand side, and I just went...
I'm having trouble... Like, good job on you for recognizing who were the family you save and who were the enemies, because I couldn't tell.
Oh, too much shit on screen. Come on. It's a tinier playfield. It's a worse playing game.
Oh, they dead.
I don't know, again, maybe an emulation error, but I love this aspect of, like, everything stops if you were moving. You turn this into, like, a turn-based game where you're allowed as many turns in a row as you want.
Just walked right into it because it controls so oddly. Yeah, there might be a science to it in terms of, like, figuring out how to play this to take advantage of the frozen time. He's moving in my frozen time?
What was the name of this compilation again?
Williams Arcade Classics for the Tiger Gamecom. And oh boy, all the classics are here, and they're as classic as you remember them. I walked into another enemy because the move speed is too high. Fuck. Ugh.
Aha! Classic Game Room has a video on real hardware. I'm gonna quickly look.
You just tap a button and it sends you flying across the screen. I cannot convey just how bad the movement in this is. Precisely. Accurately. 2084. Oh, 2084 kills you to walk into the 2084. And that's a game over.
Okay. I will confirm this is not emulating properly.
Yeah,
like, for example,
I had
Defender.
a hunch.
Defender actually plays quite smooth on real hardware.
Okay.
I'll post this in the chat for people. I don't know if he looks at everything, but Classic Game Room plays it on an actual... Oh, crap, I opened Windows Store again. I always do
Okay,
that.
you figure that out, Johnny, and I'm going to say that's going to do it for Williams Arcade Classics on Gamecom.
Yeah.
Maybe not emulated perfectly, but still not the worst of the night despite that somehow. So that's a damning indictment of the other games we played tonight, and also a call, a cry out for Gamecom emulation. Please get better. Please, emulator developers, make a decent Gamecom emulator. We shouldn't be using this shit from 1999 still to this day. And don't give me that MAME shit. That MAME shit sucks. That MAME version of that is also really bad. Just fix it. Get on it. Well, we will get on to our next game. It's going long tonight, by the way. Not too long, hopefully. Do we want to skip this and get right to this? I'm taking to my co-hosts. Do we wanna...
I assume that's just the Game Boy conversions that already came out, just packaged together, correct?
Yeah, I was going to mention. I'll show this cover. We're going to skip it and get to the last.
We'll mention it.
Yeah, just want to mention that in 1997, Probe Entertainment, in an act of audacity, put out Mortal Kombat and Mortal Kombat 2, which is almost harkening back to the microcomputer era, the value publisher era of, hey, we got 2 games. They're both arcade conversions that we were licensed to make. What if we put them out as a multi-cart? And so you get Mortal Kombat, one of the worst Game Boy games of all time, the conversion of Mortal Kombat 1. Just does not play, moves like molasses, all the inputs are fucked, just in this horrible. Packaged with the actually okay Mortal Kombat 2 Game Boy conversion, which is, not accurate at all, and not comprehensive, does not contain all the characters or anything close to that, but is at least like a decent little fighting game you could theoretically ostensibly play. Both of them had link cable support. The interesting thing is that by this point, 1997 is when they put this multi-card out. 1995 is when they had released Mortal Kombat 3 for Game Boy. They could have included that, chose not to. Still wanted to drive sales for that standalone, but figured, well, we don't want to sell Mortal Kombat 1 individually at this point. Let's pull as many copies of that as we can out of the wild because it's so fucking embarrassing. But, yeah, so we're just going to skip that. I think we've shown these off on Fight Night before in some capacity as well, so... we'll just move on to our last couple of games of the night, which are Midway arcade hits for the Game Boy Color. We have, in 1999, Joust and Defender again.
Yep, I was going to say.
But we also get Moon Patrol and Spy Hunter a little later down the line. So... I suppose we are still stuck playing. And by the way, these were developed. The previous ones that we played weren't, but these are developed by Digital Eclipse. So these might be better.
Yeah.
These might be improved, not just with the benefit of color, but might be improved from the benefit of having technical wizards putting these together. So we'll start with Joust Defender.
Oh, I think I'm the only one here tonight who has not yet played Joust and Defender.
So you should probably go ahead and play Joust and Defender then, shouldn't you?
Hello.
Yeah, I did not realize Digital Eclipse got started so early. I forgot to say earlier.
Let's start with Defender. Very Spartan soundscape. Right? Yep, fine.
Yeah. I like that it's just essentially dip switches. Just set the difficulty however you want.
This moves a billion times better and looks a million times better than the
this is way better. Yeah.
Still doesn't help being in this resolution, but this is like so much better than any of the other ones.
Figure out how to warp.
Versions of this we did.
You found out your bomb button.
I have a bomb.
Try select.
Yep, select.
Yay! Beautiful explosion.
Still a difficult game.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's not a game I love, but at least it's done some amount of justice here from just like a surface level viewing of it. Just my immediate gut reaction is that this is like so much better.
Definitely best looking for like everything, like the map, the graphics in general.
Performance as well. Seems even...
Yeah.
Got yourself through a wave.
Do like one more wave. And...
The colors aren't necessarily accurate to arcade, for whatever that's worth. This is Game Boy Color, so they have like, a fuller range of colors. I think they put a lot of it into your ship having so many of the different colors. If you look at your ship, like, for a second, look how many colors are on it. Unnecessarily so, one might say.
Oh, there's some colors.
Oh, damn.
Still ain't easy.
That might be it, actually. Yeah.
5150.
How do I... Okay, yeah, I found out how to get back here. Let's try Joust. Joust is more on my speed anyway.
Two-player link. You love to see it.
And yeah, no music options. Just pure
As it should be, honestly.
Yeah.
Whoop.
When accuracy, to whatever extent they can manage that, replicate this. I mean,
It's funny hearing like a lot of... Yeah, you go ahead.
In case people don't know, like Joust in the arcades, the ostrich sprites are actually very high resolution. Midway was doing a lot of stuff. The same technology they use like in NARC to have like super high resolution graphics. They were doing some cutting edge stuff Midway at this point in time to like produce like really impressive graphics, pixel art graphics for their games. That was kind of like, you know, their USP as it were as developers. So, you know, you're not going to be able to replicate that at all with these, but they did manage to replicate it, and Digital Eclipse did manage to replicate it for the PC versions, for the Windows versions of these, and I suppose Mac version of Williams Arcade Classics. So, you know, kudos to them for that.
It would have been nice if this had the auto flap that the other Game Boy version had. You okay there, pal?
Yeah. Something I find interesting as well is that they're emulating a lot of the arcade sounds, not by doing them with the, you know, the square signs, but they're doing digitized versions of that sound.
Yoink.
Yeah. So yeah, so
it sounds good. I'll say that.
Yeah.
It sounds as it should.
Yeah.
Which counts for a lot. And it moves. You can see how, like, fluidly, you know, it's not that thing where it's like every tick update of the screen is like, you know, logic being processed in real time. And causing, like, you know, severe frame drops in the way that every other version of Joust tonight has fallen victim to. So they are, you know, doing some wizardry behind the scenes for sure to get this to run as well as it does, while also being as accurate as they can manage it. Those Digital Eclipse boys, they're onto something.
This isn't a place where it is technically more slight than the other versions. Other version of this on Game Boy. You know, it doesn't have like the expanded mode that thing added. But this is definitely the more accurate version. It looks like this probably feels better. Ah, shit.
Yeah, no doubt. I can just tell from looking this feels better. Minus, you know, the forced manual flap, no option for auto flap.
Yeah. Which
is a bit of a bummer, but...
I forgot if you have recourse against the pterodactyl. Well, thank you for doing my job for me. Just gonna assume someone's gonna come out. Oh, no, maybe not.
Oh, they're getting dragged in, yeah. I do love how the environment fights your enemies as much as it fights you. Fair play, right?
Oh, I think I can... Alright. Ooh. Nah.
Thy game is over.
There we go.
That was good. That was a good version of that for what it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
That'll do it for that one. That was everything.
Yeah, got through both of them. We have enough points of reference that we can fly through those. Now, the next two, of course, are Moon Patrol and Spy Hunter bundled into one. These are ones we have not played tonight. So, fuck it. I'll bite the bullet on this.
I remember playing Spy Hunter at a pizza place. Not the Pizza Hut that had the cool arcade cabinets, but there was another one that had, like, Spy Hunter and Tetris, and I would play those a lot there.
Controls? They take the time to show you the controls. I'll also mention that these this is Game Boy compatible. I have that in the ROM information, so this would, even though it's made for Game Boy Color, would still work on the Game Boy.
There we go.
I wonder if the same can be said for Joust Defender. Yes. So we asked the question earlier in the night. I'm almost curious. I'll try it with these two. I'll try it with Spy Hunter in particular. I want to know what the fuck Spy Hunter looks like on a classic Game Boy. In the meantime,
I wonder if it runs any worse on the classic.
Yeah, I will say I'm familiar with these two games, but I don't think I've actually played a version of either Moon Patrol or Spy Hunter.
Personally, not a fan of Moon Patrol so much.
I have no love for Moon Patrol. Not the worst thing you'll play, but...
No, just,
Oh, look, we've even got parallax scrolling.
Yeah.
hate the soundscape in this.
Whoop whoop. Oh, whooping tonight.
Bips and boops and beeps.
Gotta make my way all the way to point Z.
Oh, okay, that's...
Okay.
Checkpoint.
Oh, did I beat the record time?
I couldn't parse it fast enough.
Yeah, so the new record, so...
Okay.
Ah, well, no, not setting a record on that one. Oh,
I don't remember if you have a fuel meter in this or not. I don't think so.
No.
Like in Scramble, you do.
I think the timer is enough of a... Yeah, you know. I don't even know why I was trying to rewind. I think I just kept falling into the same hole like a chump. Yeah, well, I'm not any good at Moon Patrol, but that seems like a fairly decent version of Moon Patrol. Oh, you even get to, if you wanted to. How do I not insert coin? What button can I press to say no? I think it's to wait in real time. I think you need to wait for this counter to go away.
Yeah, then so skip button. Yeah.
No.
I don't know how possible this is. Just for the novelty of it, I want to get a USB thing that's just like a coin insert that's just on its own. That would just connect to a button in MAME. Oh dear. Yeah. That I was gonna say, Spy Hunter does have a lot of controls.
Oh,
okay, you can. All right, just blink out of your mind all the directional ones because that's obvious.
Okay, yeah, I see what it
is.
is.
High and low.
And yeah, B and then a direction is each of your power-ups.
No, start is high, low, select is pause.
Oh, alright, I misread it.
That makes sense because that'd be you could still use the D-pad while pressing start.
By the way, I hate Spy Hunter. I've never enjoyed a round of Spy Hunter in my life. On any version, any capacity.
I haven't played it, but I've watched people play it, and it looks brutally hard.
Keep pressing select because it seems like the button you should be pressing to change gears, but
anytime you played it, you were like, I just can't get into this if the rock isn't in it. When are they gonna make one of these with the rock in it?
Yeah.
You know what? Maybe I shouldn't do high gear ever because I can't handle it. It moves too fast.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, now the rock's in it, but also we put a wig on him.
Is that my truck? Can I pull into
a massive
that to get?
bodysuit.
Nope.
Okay. People don't know that. Have you seen the pictures?
No, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm just focused on the game right now.
Oh, yeah, yeah. No,
I was also going to say, in reference to the game, is something that Spy Hunter Original did that I like is the fact that you have that timer at the top, which is your grace period of you can die as many times as you want, and it doesn't count until that timer runs out.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
So yeah, if you start playing this game and you start just sucking and dying, it's not like you lose your quarter like immediately.
Oh, yeah, that high speed looks near impossible to control. Okay, where's the... I
was hoping that I had the van blinking, so I would love to get into the van.
Oh, there we go. There it is. Oh,
goodbye. Fuck Spy Hunter. So that one...
legit.
I thought the blue cars were baddies. Okay, that one was a baddie.
Yeah. Yeah, no, if I was going to play a version of Spy Hunter, it probably would be one of the PS2
But that one's not a baddie. These ones aren't baddies. They're supposed to be color-coded in my mind, but... Okay, that one's clearly a baddie.
More obvious in the monochromatic Game Boy version, where everything's the same.
Love it, by which I mean I hate it. I mean, I don't suppose either of you like Spy Hunter more and would give this a more fair shake than me, right?
I mean,
like I said, never played it, so...
I kind of like Spy Hunter, but, this doesn't look like a good version of it.
Well, you know what might fix it? You know what might improve it? What if we played it on the... Wait, hold on. Why did I even close out of it? I just need to...
Yeah.
Load it up.
It might need a restart.
It maybe. Let's just do core options. What system? Emulated hardware, Game Boy.
Yeah, it does need a restart.
Oh, it needs
that doesn't...
a hard restart. Let's try closing out and reopening again. If not, I'll switch over to... Yeah, there we go.
There we go. It's interesting how this like multi-system stuff works, because I understand with some games it's straight up just there's two like cartridges, set two boards in the cartridge.
It's moving slower,
Yeah.
which is a good
No,
thing.
that's
which
a
is
good thing.
good.
Yeah.
It is that much harder to distinguish who is friendly, who is foe.
But
But
yeah,
I
you
can
can actually
drive,
control it
yeah.
at high speed.
I had a hunch that the original Game Boy versions of these would run worse in a sense, and I guess here it technically is by moving slower. But again, it is still moving fairly smooth.
Yeah.
And also slower helps here. No, don't shoot your own.
No
Don't
witnesses.
bite the hand that feeds you.
No evidence. Oh, you're an enemy. Fuck. Whatever.
Cars with saw blades on their wheels have the right of way. Let them pass.
I need weapons. I need actual weapons. The gun is useless, basically, except against like the most
I
basic
feel like
of
in
enemies.
the arcade version it plays the like
Fuck this. Peter
it?
Gun theme.
Peter- is it-
Yes.
yeah.
We
it
heard a
plays,
little
like,
bit of
every...
it at the top.
Yeah, but I think it plays like every time you respawn in that version.
Yeah. Making the most of their
Which
licensed
honestly
music.
gets a bit annoying, so that's probably better to just not do that.
Bridge coming up.
Does the PS2
Fuck. I'm
games
cheating just to
have-
try and get a van, by the way.
Do the PS2 games use the Peter Gunn song?
I don't know actually. I might have to do a PS2 Spy Hunter Night in the Discord at some point.
What I want to do is I want to see how it is to select the different weapons. I want to at least get that much, how it feels, trying to figure out what button combination does what.
Yeah, like when I think about it, that control scheme doesn't seem too bad, but there isn't labeling.
Like
And that
it would
would've helped.
be, it would be easier. Oh, you can call the van now.
No, it just comes
Which is that?
automatically.
Okay.
Oh. Ah.
Oh, that's brutal. There you go. Oh,
I would just get in the van.
I was really worried the van was going to break there.
It would be easier to tell if instead of that like solid line of things there, if it represented the things in like a cross shape, so you knew like what D-pad direction was what thing.
That's the smoke.
That's the Peter Gunn theme.
It's a fun version of it.
Yeah. Spy Hunter, huh?
Yep.
Oh, they're trying with that chiptune rendition of it. This is not anything I'd ever want to play in my life. But, you know,
But here you are.
but if you're a Spy Hunter fan, maybe you're eating well on the Game Boy. Who's to say? I don't have enough passion or love for it to say with any sort of authority or confidence whether that is a fine version or not. All I can tell you is I would never want to play that ever again.
Yeah,
And I won't have to.
Finally made it,
Yeah,
friends.
looks close enough.
Hello, Nocturne Duskclaw. Hello, Raiders. Welcome to the end of the show. Thank you. But we have just played a whole bunch of Compromise Classic Compilations, and now is the time, whoop, and boop, wherein we decide best and worst of the night. So best game, Galaga. Just Galaga is just the best game in the arcade, so it wins by default. Whatever game had Galaga on it, in my opinion.
Here's the problem. We've played so many of these tonight. They're all variations of arcade classic. That it's real hard to remember what we played and when.
Oh, there's quite a few here. Yeah, that I would choose.
I think I was kind of most impressed by what Digital Eclipse did with Joust and the Fender. I'm not gonna say that's the best. I'm just gonna say I was personally most impressed. Um, I don't know. I guess honestly, maybe the Lynx game, the Super Asteroids and Missile Command, because they were improvements graphically, but they had added a bunch of new hooks to both of those things that were, I feel like, unique to those versions. You don't really see those variations come up too much. That weren't like overly complicated.
Best version of Missile
But
Command we played tonight for goddamn sure too.
yeah, absolutely. Honestly, I think that the Lynx version, the Lynx game, there was the best one.
Super Asteroids and Missile Command for the Atari Lynx. Your pick, Johnny.
Yeah, I'll go with that as well. Definitely one of the most impressive. It's funny that it's in some ways was the least arcade accurate, but in the best possible way. You know, like taking advantage of how this would have played on the hardware, which quite a few of these collections don't quite do. Some did, but that was cool. I do want to give special shouts to, yes, Digital Eclipse's take on Defender and Joust. In terms of like arcade accurate on the system, that was probably the best. Though Battlezone was also pretty good, but then that had Super Breakout, which was a massive drag factor. But yeah, I'm biased for the Lynx, so.
And I'm sticking with what I said. Arcade Classic 3, Galaga, Galaxian by way of Namco and Nintendo, because it's the games I would most want to play.
Yeah,
that's just a very personal pick because I just think those are the best games that were featured in any of these collections.
Yeah, no, great versions as well. This is a rare night where just there's a lot to pick. They're all decent ones to go for.
Yeah, but you know, at the end of the day, I would still say that a lot of these are not great value propositions for what they are. That, you know, for what it's worth, that, you know, like 2 games in 1 is still like a pretty pale comparison to like the 4-in-1s, 5-in-1s that people on PC were getting spoiled by, with the likes of like Williams Arcade Classics, like the original. That doing these as 2-in-1s is pretty rough. And, you know, also, like, these are games that are going to have limited mileage for a lot of people. I think a lot of people who would have bought into these back in the day, just trying to get that value proposition, would have been better served by just buying, you know, like a standalone game designed explicitly for the Game Boy. It is usually going to be a more fully featured thing, is usually going to be a more engaging sort of thing. That there is a sort of limited value to these style. If you're not amassing a whole collection of arcade games, you're just piecemealing it out 2 at a time and expecting people to like buy multiple cartridges and multiple iterations in your series of arcade re-releases. That's like a tougher sell at a certain point than your 10-in-1, 50-in-1, what have you. Even just like the 5-in-1 that was like Williams Arcade Classics that they were putting out on PC. I think it was maybe 7-in-1. I don't remember offhand. But, you know, this is all to say that you had a higher quantity if you were on other platforms than the handheld. And then maybe that value proposition breaks at a certain point in the minds of certain consumers. But I think that school of thought, that thought process, is going to be largely irrelevant when it comes to picking our worst of the nights. Which, Sharky?
Arcade Classics on the Sega Genesis, easily. Like, honestly, worse than the Game Gear version, somehow. Like, the worst version of the games that we've played tonight, and that's in classic mode, because you also had Sega mode, which were somehow worse versions of the worst versions of the games we played tonight. That was abysmal, and yeah, it was made under duress, but we did have to play it. It sucked.
Johnny,
nope, I 100% second that. I honestly thought the game Com one was gonna take it, but looking up footage, actually runs better if you have a real one.
Even in the shitty compromised version we played, it was better than those fucking arcade classics.
And the fact also that it was somehow worse than the Game Gear version, just abysmal around and just baffling choices with those quote Sega versions. Yeah, that one takes the cake for sure.
Before I get to mine, to leave you all in suspense, Creative Nemo3 in chat says, if CDI emulation wasn't so rough, I would have loved to see you guys talk about and play Revenge of Arcade, which I believe in Europe is known as just like Arcade Classics again. I have the CHD file for that on hand. I have it in my
Yeah, we did
Launchbox
briefly
library.
look at it, and
yeah, it's just called
it
Arcade
crashed a lot.
Classics. It crashes. It will let you boot into the games and play them for a little bit, but then you'll be in the middle of gameplay and it'll just like stop running. And then like certain ones like the Galaga won't work. It'll be like in a tiny 1/4 of the screen and not scale properly, which is unfortunate because I would have also liked to have shown that off. But hey, CDI emulation, like you said. And that game, by the way, includes versions of Galaga, Galaxian, and Miss Pac-Man. That's the 3 they went for. And I think Galaxian is pretty accurate in that. This is a mini review. I think the Galaxian is basically 1-to-1, is basically emulated. They do a ground-up version of Miss Pac-Man that's not great, but not the worst thing I've ever played. And then Galaga, I couldn't tell you because I have not been able to emulate it. I don't know, playing it in 1/4 of the screen, whether as an emulation or a conversion. But I'm sure you can find that elsewhere. I'm sure you can look that up and educate yourself, maybe educate me down the line. But as far as the games we played tonight, as far as what we played on the show tonight, and let me also say that we skipped or did not get around to a lot of different releases. We have an entire Game Boy Advance catalog of 2-in-1s, 3-in-1s, anniversary collections, greatest arcade hits et al. To get through, that we might do a second episode of this, revisit it, and just hone in on the Game Boy Advance for how much came out in that era. But we wanted to keep it reasonably short tonight. How'd we do? Oh, well. I'm going to second, third, even, the Arcade Classics as developed by Al Baker and Associates. Specifically that game, not that Game Gear version, but the Genesis version, which was worse than the Game Gear version, which is incredible, an incredible feat to have more hardware, to have more under the hood, and still put out a version that is definitively worse. Is impressive in some capacity. Still, the only version of Pong we got tonight, so if you're a real Pong head.
Only way you can play Pong.
Only way, there's no other way. Pong's a dead game. Miss it. Oh yeah, that was rough. So unanimous agreement on Arcade Classics.
Yeah.
Slight bit of division, but the two winners tonight were Super Asteroids and Missile Command for the Atari Lynx with 2 votes, and me going for Arcade Classic number 3, Galaga Galaxian on the Game Boy. That'll do it for Compromised Classics Compilations, at least this first episode. Again, this might be one we revisit. This might be... We have some ideas wherein we might create a format where we take a look at different conversions and ports of a singular game, is an idea that we have tossed around. We've also tossed around the idea of figuring out a way to get Game Room up and running. Remember Game Room's birthday today? And then it turns out there is a way, and that there may be a way for us to show off the Game Room, which would be another trip down memory lane, playing just a bunch of emulated old games in their capacity as products that were sold piecemeal in Game Room. So we have some ideas. We're always working behind the scenes, working on formats, working on shows, and so forth. So keep an eye on this channel, folks. And as I say, folks, thank you for showing up tonight. Thank you for sitting through our Compromised Classics compilation. Thank you for enduring us playing the same game 7 times in a row or whatever when it came to fucking Centipede was the most played game tonight, just by versions, by volume. Yeah, thank you. It was a fun one to do. More of a historical one. Not every game we played tonight was bad. In fact, most of them were okay, middling to okay. So I hope the audience is okay with that it wasn't just pure suffering. And if not, too bad. Sometimes we need an easy night. Sometimes we need some breathing room here, okay? Sometimes we need a little bit of levity in between the suffering. Either way, regardless of whether you came here to watch us suffer or just to watch us thrive, thank you for showing up regardless. Let's take a look at the stream schedule, why don't we? Thursday, March 26th. I'm really hoping, fingers crossed, it is the beginning of our playthrough of 2023's Colossal Cave, the reboot, remake of the original Colossal Cave adventure. There's going to be a whole history section for that one. That is going to be the make or break if I manage to get that done in time, if I can commit to actually writing it. Because that is one that lives and dies on the strength of having a history section attached to it that covers all the bases, that sets up why that game is interesting, why that remake in particular is interesting. So, again, fingers crossed, pray for me. Saturday, March 28th, a Bad Game Chance Time. The game in which what we play is randomly determined by some devious spinning blocks. Usually a bad time had by me, a good time had by the audience. So please to tune into that one if it's a format unfamiliar to you or if you're a fan of it. It's a good time. It's one of our signature formats, I would say. Monday, you can tune into an episode of Casual Monday, the show where we play not so bad games, shoot the shit, discuss current games, news, and so forth. That's definitely the funnest show in terms of, just for us, the least amount of suffering by volume, that show, because we're stacking the deck, we're bringing games we actually want to play that we have an interest in. So that is a show you can tune into that you can catch it live on Twitch or catch the VODs for it. Those go up on the Patreon. Those are a supporter exclusive back catalog. We're coming up on 150 hours, 50 episodes of Casual Mondays for your enjoyment. So no better time than now to consider supporting us here at the Bad Game Hall of Fame. We'll get more into that in just a minute. As for Tuesday, March 31st, no idea what we're bringing to the table on that day. We have a week to figure it out. We always figure it out. It's always something on the Bad Game Hall of Fame. So we'll let you know when we figure that out. But expect the show. So hey, we hope you like what you saw here tonight. If you really like us, you might consider joining our community over on Discord, discord.gg/bghof. Join the Game Room, inspired by Microsoft's Game Room, believe it or not. So today's a great day to advertise for the Discord. It's a community of connoisseurs, talk good games, bad games, every game in between, things that aren't games. Or if you are more game inclined, join our Bad Game Club. We're wrapping it up for the month of March. Where folk have been playing Castlevania on the N64, commiserating over it, sharing their experiences, their tips and tricks, so on and so forth. It's been one that people have been really engaged with. It's good to see. But if it's not of interest to you, that Castlevania 64, you can just wait till next month. We'll have a new game picked out. There's a new game every month for the Bad Game Club. So stick around, why don't you? And if you really like us, you really want to stick in there, you really want to support what we're doing, you might consider supporting us financially. Subscribing on Twitch, pledging on Patreon, becoming a member on YouTube, any or all of the above will grant you access on our Discord to a Patreon Saints channel wherein you can vote in polls to determine our playthroughs, make suggestions to help steer the direction of the show, gain access to exclusive content, the likes of the Casual Monday archives and so forth. We're working on further exclusive offerings. We're always thinking about ways to improve that value proposition, much like the value publishers of old putting out compilation tapes for the old microcomputers. And also, by supporting us, you'll just be personally recognized and appreciated by us. We see you. We see those of you who are helping keep this show afloat, helping keep the lights on here at the Bad Game Hall of Fame. If you want to support us, but you can't do so financially, if that's just not an option in the cards, believe you me, we completely understand. If you're still looking for a way to help us out, one of the best ways is to mosey on over to our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/@badgamehallofame. And find that suggested viewing playlist on our channel page. It's 20 handpicked episodes. 20 handpicked episodes by us that we think make for some of the best onboarding onto the show, that are fit for sharing with folk that you think might go for 3 to 4 hour video game stream archives with production up the wazoo and carefully curated lists and all that stuff that we tried to bring to the table here to make those YouTube VODs appealing, to make it stand out from some other streaming shows on the internet, to have that highly produced format that transfers over, I believe, a little bit better than the typical stream archive. And so we do hope that folk find it in their hearts to share those, to give it a chance to see who would bite on sharing those VODs. Or maybe, someone who's a real big fan of Missile Command, and you want to break their heart. by showing them the Arcade Classics iteration, the version of it. You just want to like absolutely like crush their spirit by showing them the worst possible version of Missile Command humanly imaginable. You can do that with this episode. We leave it to your discretion, though, dear viewer. Those are all the plugs. Let me just plug into Twitch real quick to see. Yeah, small handful of folk streaming right now. Let us raid one Sebmal, who is, I believe, playing. They said they're playing Sonic Heroes, but you know what? I think they're actually on intermission, or are they ending? They've been streaming for 8 hours. Yeah, they're about to raid someone right now. Sorry, Sebmal, about that. I didn't commit to the raid though, so we will find someone else real quick. Let's say let's do Cybertrucker Alpha. Fuck it. They're doing True Lies for the SNES, which I'm trying to remember if that was good or bad. When we did LJN Connection and played that on there. Sharky, do you remember it being good?
Ones.
Okay, well, I guess
don't remember it.
Guess we'll rate an okay.
It's the one
game.
where it was like top down and you're in the shopping mall.
Yes, with the
like
furry
eight-way
swords
shooting?
or whatever.
Yeah, that one looked kind of cool. Yeah.
All right. Well, you'll see. You'll find out for yourselves if you follow and rating Cybertrucker Alpha. Let them know the Bad Game Hall of Fame sent you. So on, so forth. That will do it for us here at the Bad Game Hall of Fame. I have been Classic Cassidy, the obvious one.
I've been legally obligated shippable product Sharky.
And I've been Defender of Defender, Johnny Backhead.
Very good. Thank you one last time to the folk at home. And for now, for us here, bye.
Good night, everybody.
Toodles!